Hello everyone and welcome to the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway tonight for the American Motorsport Association. I am Mark Murphy. I will be joined in due time by my good friend Sam Crow. He is experiencing some technical difficulties this evening, but we are here tonight for the American Motorsports Association Slots 300 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Tonight we're going to do 200 laps on the mile and a half, so 300 total miles. There are 3 stages, or 200 total laps for 300 miles. There are 3 stages of competition tonight, 45 laps for the first. We're going to throw the second yellow at 90, and then they're going to do the final 110 for all of the marbles, kind of just running through some general facts and figures about the AMA here at the Las Vegas Speedway. This is the 5th race of the 2025 season, number 38 overall in the series. It is the 5th time that the Grand National Series has visited the Las Vegas Speedway. The last winner, well, that's none other than your points leader, Adam O'Brien. We're going to get into that very shortly. The fastest race lap, well, that's held by David Dunwoody, 29.919. The series track record for qualifying, Jeremy Fournier, 30.005. Kyle Heath owns the most laps led here at the facility in the Grand National Series. The past winners here for the poll include Jeremy Fournier and Kyle Heath. Adam O'Brien and Kendall Paul are your former race winners. And just so you know, this will be the first time, even though this is the fifth race here, this will be the first time that the AMA visits the new scan of the Las Vegas Speedway here in iRacing. So we're kind of excited to see these drivers take on the very, very fast Las Vegas Speedway. And speaking of drivers, we have a bunch of them. 35 cars are signed in tonight, and we still have about 6 minutes left. We could get to a full field, and so let's see how many people do take the green flag. Do already have quite a few people in our lobby, in our chat, watching the pre-race show. Big shout out to Andrew Mott, Zach Bailey. They're already cheering for their favorite drivers, and qualifying doesn't end for another 12 minutes. So thanks to everybody who's watching. Right now, as I mentioned earlier, we are 4 races into the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series, and that means that we can officially start talking about points. As of now, there are Kyle Heath, Michael Moquin, Edwin James, and Kendall Paul are locked in on points. Adam O'Brien is the points leader. He is plus 22 above the cut line, and Sean Merriman is the last guy in. Right now, O'Donohue, Heaney, Pierce, Evans, Osterman, and Miller are the next 6 out. So do keep an eye on the playoff picture as it gets time. But that's what the points look like. Again, we do have a playoff system here in the AMA, and we're going to get there. We'll get there. When we get there, these standings are going to become very important, but it's never too early to lock yourself in. It's never too early to establish yourself as a championship contender. Right now, just to kind of show everybody where we're at, we've got about 4 minutes and 45 seconds left in practice. The fastest car in practice right now, that's going to be, no surprise, Ryan O'Donohue, 180.746. He's at the top of the board. Nolan Milnes is second quick. Jacob Cannon, Greg Evans, Adam O'Brien are going to round out your top 5. Kendall Paul, Joseph Klein, Mark Cofield, Dylan Godnez, and Michael Moquin are your top 10. And so I'll let the standings play out there at the side of your screen so the fans at home can tell just who the fastest man in Las Vegas is for tonight. The strategy is going to be fairly simple, folks. You're going to want to go to the end of stage 1, get tires, go to the end of stage 2, get tires, and then you're going to have 1 green flag pit stop. The fuel window here tonight is anywhere between 50 and 60 laps, I'm told. Now, what I'm told can oftentimes be a little bit different than fact, but we are definitely looking at somewhere between 50 and 60 laps on fuel. So split that last stage right in half. And while we're waiting, let's see if we can get a hold of a driver or two. Again, Sam Crow technical difficulties. And while we're waiting, let's talk to Jacob Cannon. Jacob, Mark Murphy in the P1 Broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
What's going on?
You know, not too awful much. We're here. We're about 3 minutes left to go in practice. You guys have qualifying coming up. What's your strategy here? You're looking pretty good. Third quick on the board.
We just got to stay positive most through the race and hopefully save enough tire. Because this new track that they've now got laid out for us is throwing another curveball. So we just got to keep the tires on the car and try to look to go to the front at the end of this thing.
Sure thing. Now, from my experience, this track, at least in the past, has raced very differently throughout every division that they run here. Of course, the open wheel stuff that I'm used to, it's very packy. You can't get off of one another. I've been in truck races like that here too. How do you think this is going to race tonight?
Tires is mostly going to be the biggest factor in this. Well, I mean, tires and fuel is basically going to be the more thing in this race. You're going to see guys trying to save tire, laying back, not going to sit here and burn their stuff up, and all that good stuff.
100%. Before I let you get back to go, do you think there's multiple strategies in play here for that last stage, or do you think everybody's just going to split it in half?
Oh, definitely.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back to where you were, Jacob. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to put you back in the. You were in free agent 1, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's Jacob Cannon. Before you go, friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to shout out real quick?
I want to go ahead and appreciate Rogue Energy. Went ahead and ordered me some last week. I was drinking it during the Phoenix race and drinking it again tonight. So appreciate y'all for having AMA to have y'all sponsorship. If y'all haven't checked it out, make sure y'all go order some. Use code AMA24. Get a 10% off. And also want to thank Mobile One and EPI.
Perfect. Thank you, Jacob. You have a great run. You hear?
All right. Appreciate it.
That is Jacob Cannon. He is right now third quick on the board. We've got about 50 seconds left. And while we wait, I do want to give a shout out to all the people that do make this possible, from Archway Industrial Coatings, Black Magic Studios, Admin Box, great friends of mine personally, Track Racer and Rogue Energy Drink. We do want to give a shout out and thanks to all of our sponsors. And Andrew Mott is 100% right. This is absolutely crazy that we get to do this. It's a 1.5 mile speedway in a sim on a Thursday night in Xfinity cars. The Black Magic Studios Grand National Series is just about ready to get underway for qualifying, and we're going to bring you some of those qualifying runs as they happen. I'm going to focus in on the fastest man in the house. That's Ryan O'Donohue, and we're going to watch his run live. We're going to see exactly what it takes to go fast here at the place that Gary Godso, the P1 Broadcasting founder, terms as Lost Wages. You can't see the strip from the aerial blimp shot here, but I assure you it is nearby. The track originally descends, by the way, this facility does, from the Stardust International Speedway that was originally built in Las Vegas in the 1950s and 60s. So it does have a lot of heritage. You can see the remnants of the road course that was originally laid out here in the bottom of that shot. And already Ryan O'Donohue is going out onto the course. And so we're going to show the fastest man in Lost Wages right now. That is Ryan O'Donohue as he brings the number 14 machine up to speed. Now the strategy here is going to be, you're going to want to kind of bring the car very gently up to speed. You're not going to have a lot of heat in the tires for lap 1, so you're going to want to take that kind of easy. And then you're going to see a hard lap on lap 2. Lap 2 should be the money lap. O'Donohue not really pressing it all that hard. You see way off the throttle there going into turn 1. Just going to kind of keep it steady. Do want to thank Reaper's Double and the Danger Close Racing crew for tuning it in this evening. Always happy to have you aboard. Ryan O'Donohue working it through turn 3 on his qualifying lap. First qualifying lap, we're going to bring it out. Bring it to the line. Ryan O'Donohue down to the apron. First lap is going to be good for 30.331. He is just a touch slower than Nolan Milnes, as you can see there on the screen. Ryan O'Donohue working his second lap. Milnes has completed his 2 runs, his run. The second laps for both of these drivers are upcoming. Milnes is going to hit it right before O'Donohue. Here comes O'Donohue to the line. His second lap is going to be the fastest of the lot, 30.291, 180.927 miles per hour. Now, just so those at home aren't worried, Sam Crow is with us. He's experiencing a little bit of technical difficulty. Sam, can you hear us? You out there?
I can hear you. I appreciate you giving me some time. However, I might just be a fan watching it from the bleachers tonight. There's some iRacing updates that still have not cleared themselves on the system, but I can still be able to enjoy the race with you from a fan's point of view and watch the broadcast with the rest of our fine followers that have been tuning in every week. But it's just a fantastic racetrack, and the updates to this racetrack are really going to prove that Las Vegas is going to be the gamble for sure. It's going to be a gamble to see who can be the high roller and make sure that their car stays under them for this particular race.
Yeah, I did ask Jacob Cannon that the new track is producing much more tire wear than these guys and gals are used to. And there's the aforementioned Jacob Cannon. I asked him if if there was going to be a gamble, if you're going to see guys try to split that last stage into 2, Sam, or if we were going to see everybody just do the safe thing and run. Everybody can do the safe thing and run. And there's Jacob Cannon. He's going around. He's in the wall on his first qualifying lap. But were they gonna take a chance and somebody do 2 stops, or if
he's losing it?
Yeah, he did, and that's not good for Cannon. He is going to start 5th, but the second lap's the money lap, and he brought that back in right around there, Sam.
Sure did. Well, he didn't take a lot of side damage. It was just enough to straighten the car up as he was in 3 and 4. The thing, tires are king here, and these fast laps that these guys are putting down, and these are tremendously good laps. These fast laps that they're putting down, that is not going to be race pace. You are really going to want to make sure that you're letting off the throttle on entry. Turns 1 and 2, if the fans are watching the broadcast, if they look in turns 1 and 2 and they will look at the cars very carefully, they're just about a lane up from the bottom to the second marker. There are 2 vicious bumps in 1 and 2, and they completely disturb the suspension on these cars, and it can be precarious at best if you hit those bumps and try and go in at speed and in and out of the throttle. So you're going to find a lot of guys that are going to utilize lanes that are above it, and there's this very sweet spot coming off of 2 if you can keep it down on the white line.
Well, and something else we just discovered too, the pit entrance is going to be treacherous too out there, saying we just watched Justin Osterman using the end of his qualifying run to practice the pit entry. Osterman darn near lost it coming down there. We are just about done with we are now done with qualifying, actually. And guess what that means, Sam? It's time to play the music and get going on the starting grid. How about that?
Hey, go ahead and announce it. Let's go. Titan, let's go.
Let's go is right indeed. On the pole with a lap of 180.926. That's going to be Ryan O'Donohue to his outside. Nolan Milnes, Adam O'Brien, Greg Evans, our old friend. They're going to make up road number 2. Jacob Cannon and Colby Pierce, road number 3. Mark Cofield is going to start 7th from Kendall Paul in 8th. Dylan Godness and Justin Osterman, we just watched him try to hit pit road. He's going to roll off 10th. Trevor Blins is going to go 11th. He'll be flanked by Jason Heaney. Joshua Siegfried is going to start 13th. Joseph Klein, he'll be 14th. In 15th, Corey Crandall. 16th, Tyler Smith. 17th, Eric Porter. John Guerrera. excuse me, he is going to go 18th. Lee Campbell 19th. And Keith Ayers, he's going to round out your top 20 in that 98 machine. Start 21st, Brian Wasserman. 22nd, Brian Sharp. Watch out for the trees, Brian. Don't hit anything in that 125 tonight. I want to play the song. Edwin James is going to be 23rd in the 46, followed by Andrew Miller in the 40. Sean Merriman starts 25th. He is going to be in the 18. Keith Graham 26th. John Hutchins 27th. Braden Langley 28th. Caleb Jones 29th. And Mark Ellett, he's going to start 30th. In 31st, we're going to have Michael Moquin. Michael Kirk is going to start 22nd. Donald Green 23rd. Troy Carricker, he'll be 34th. Sean Mott 35th. Christian Light and Ted Craven did not take time. So these two cars here in the back, the 96 and the 30, the Teddy Bear, they're going to start shotgun on the field as we get ready to head out. Pace car is headed away, and this is going to get fun. They're pulling away, Sam.
I'm excited about this race, simply just based on what we experienced at Phoenix last week. I know that it was a bit of a challenge for some of the drivers to make sure that they were keeping the cars under them, watching their braking points. There's a little bit less braking here, a whole lot less braking. And these guys are really going to have to watch their P's and Q's in traffic, just simply because the car can get, can get disturbed so much in 1 and 2. You want to make sure that you mind your tires. Tires are king. You can wear them out quick. That Vegas heat, that Nevada heat gets to that track, and the tires wear out quickly. So there's a lot of variables that make this something that can be an excellent race if the drivers can keep the wheels under them.
That's true, Sam. And the one thing that I'd like to mention, as we get ready to come to green, we're watching here the cars as they come off of turn number 4. Barney's got the green flag in the air. We are just about ready to get this party started. The one thing that I was going to say, Sam, is I remember this as a drafting track, but that's not necessarily so anymore.
No, not since the variable of the tire wear and the worn track has come into play. Drafting is not as much. In the truck series, it might play a little bit more of a role, but no, it is not as much of a factor now as it used to be.
Yeah, and Reaper's Double said it. It's so slick out there. I was having a hard time controlling my car just in the few laps that I did. Look at these guys. We're seeing two Groove Racing all throughout the field, really. Looking at the 08 to Dylan Godness. He's looking at making it 3 wide on the apron. A little bit of contact there, maybe. Everybody's going to get away with it. We get through lap 1 clean and green.
Yeah, there's no question that the condition of the track is extremely slick, and the cars are going to feel very loose. So throttle control is going to be king here. Making sure that you're utilizing enough or not enough to make sure that the car stays up under you. However, I will say this: if the quality of drivers that we have here, if the car starts to come around, it is savable. And so it's my hope, even if you see an incident where someone might be getting loose, the car can be saved. It would just be more of a detriment if there was a dramatic overcorrection. But we don't want to see anybody having any trouble tonight. We'd like to see some green flag racing.
We would. Caution is on the Speedway. Again, caution is on the Speedway. Don't have anybody at least showing. Ted Craven has gone to the pit lane. Let's see if we can figure out what has happened to our man Ted Craven. And he's back there on the back with Michael Kirk. And the fenders have been on both of those automobiles. That's Craven on the top, Kirk on the bottom. And I believe, Sam, they're just going to come together over there off of turn number 2. 54 spins to the inside. The 30 hits the outside retaining wall. And that's a tough break and a hard way to begin this race for both those two automobiles. They were already in the back. Hard impact for Craven on the outside. Hard lick for Kirk into the tire barriers on the inside.
Yeah, it clearly looks like the 30 just got loose coming off of the corner. And the 54 was already there. So it was certainly one of those instances where he just was trying to utilize a lot of the top of the track and just lost the back of the car.
Yeah, it does. And so we're under yellow here for the first time in the event. 5 laps into 200. Nolan Milnes leads it. Adam O'Brien is second. Ryan O'Donohue third. Got to thank our series sponsor, Blackmagic Studios. They do a lot of the paints that are on these cars. And so if you need a paint for your iRacing machine, need it wrapped, need something that can make you stand apart from your competition, give David Dunwoody and the crew over at Blackmagic Studios a call.
I think I've heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it adds 2/10.
It does add 2/10. I owe all of my natural speed in the sim ever since I got my IndyCar wrap with Blackmagic Studios paints. Winds have come, champagne has fallen from the heavens. It's been a great ride, and they're cool guys too. They'll do you right. So, Facebook, Discord, however you want to get a hold of Blackmagic Studios, feel free to do that. We're looking at the leader, Nolan Milnes. Adam O'Brien is second. O'Brien was on a charge before the yellow light came on. He had moved from his third row starting spot all the way up to second, and he was passing cars in wholesale fashion. Something else I do want to kind of point out, watching Jacob Cannon disappear and reappear, there is something new in iRacing as we're coming back to the green flag, and that is they'll park you for that now, Sam.
Right. If you look at the update, the notes for the update, that particular technology that iRacing is implementing will only be implemented in certain official races in its first testing. It will not be implemented in like private hosted races at the moment. It will only be done in official races so that they can get some data and improve on how they're going to police it. It does not involve ping. Ping will not be the deciding factor. Quality will not, or excuse me, latency will not always be the deciding factor. However, quality will be. And so based on what car or the connection is for the client to the server and that quality, it will be based on how many times they may be in or out, and then it will disqualify them from the server. But again, right now, according to the notes that I read, the notes said that it will only be for official races.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people have been clamoring for. For years. For years. Latency.
How do you work on your I rating, and how do you work on your safety rating when you're in official races, and then you're constantly getting caught up in other people's situations? And it's not a knock on them; they can't help it sometimes, but that their connection's bad, and then so many people suffer from it.
You're quite right, Sam.
Back to green. Back to green.
We are back to green flag racing. Nolan Milnes gets the jump. Ryan O'Donohue has moved into second, and that's where the battle is. Adam O'Brien is fighting back, though. O'Brien gets back to the inside. He goes around Ryan O'Donohue, and O'Donohue is fixing to lose third, because here comes Jacob Cannon. He's going to go to third, move Greg Evans to fifth. He's gotten around the cars of Mark Cofield and Kendall Paul. So Greg Evans moving the deuce into position as well there, Sam.
I know I had spoke to Greg, and Greg was getting a little dejected about last week's race. Of course, there were so many cautions, and then he got back in the pack through the mix of things. And he was hoping to come back this week and have an opportunity to really show his prowess with some green flag runs and see how he measured up with the other talent that's here in the AMA. Because let's face it, Mark, one of the hottest series in iRacing right now is the AMA. There is a list of people that are just constantly coming in wanting to race with this group, and so it's an exciting time. And Greg would like to test his mettle in more than just a caution-filled event.
Yeah, and we know. And there goes Adam O'Brien. We got a battle for the lead. Adam O'Brien drops to the bottom of Nolan Milnes. He sets the fastest lap, Adam O'Brien going to go straight to the lead over Nolan Milnes. Jacob Cannon has moved into third. We were talking about Greg Evans, and it wasn't because we know Greg, and you and I have both raced against Greg over in the ISRA series, over in the ISRA series that you see Monday nights here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. That's the late show on Monday. Greg,
it is.
Greg is doggone good shoe in anything he sits in, whether it be the stock cars, open wheel cars, sports cars, whatever Mike Rigney seems to throw at us over there. Greg Evans is usually at the top of the list. And so I've been quite anxious in knowing Greg just to kind of see how he fares in this series. I would have picked him as the dark horse contender to win the championship before it all started. And we're seeing him prove that right now. He's brought the deuce into fourth. He's looking at Jacob Cannon for third. Adam O'Brien has the lead. Milnes is second, but Cannon is not letting Milnes out of his sights.
Well, Jacob has proved that he is not one that likes to sit back. He likes the nose of that car to be in the front of the pack, and that's where he wants to be. So I'm not surprised that Jacob Cannon is looking to go to the front. That doesn't surprise me at all. And Milnes is another one. That would like to get his car up there as well. So I will say that if they, these drivers will have to pay close attention to how their entry is. If they're running the bottom, there'll be a little less throttle when they're running the bottom as what it would be at the top. So you may have a little bit more tire wear because you're putting the throttle. More throttle means more tire wear. And so if they're riding the higher line, they can put more throttle to keep pace with the low line. Oh, Greg Evans and Milnes were so close. But anyway, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Give it 20 laps and let's see how much the field begins to spread out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I gathered from Jacob Cannon. It was going to be a lot about managing tires. There were going to be some comers. There were going to be some goers. Remember, we are stage racing here tonight, folks. The first stage does end at lap number 45, the end of lap 45, and it's as soon as the 10th place car crosses the start-finish line. We've got Greg Evans looking at him go past Nolan Milnes. Is he going to be able to clear him? It looks like he's clear. Move Greg Evans into third, Milnes back to fourth.
To go back to what I was listening to the broadcast earlier when you were opening the broadcast, and you were talking about how many laps. Laps will be when you're full leaving the pits. You're at roughly 56 laps, and so just depending on how much throttle control you're using, how much you're saving, you're looking at maybe 53 laps, 53 or so laps that you might be able to get out of the tank, maybe more. It's just, I would say probably between 50 and 53.
100%, Sam. Do want to kind of put the spotlight on Ryan O'Donohue. Here's Ryan in the 14. He was our pole sitter today. And there's a guy I got to believe might be saving a little bit of his stuff. He's in the Heatwave Track Racer. Welcome to Las Vegas sign on the hood with his sponsor there. Very well done on that machine. But O'Donohue started on the pole. He's currently 8th.
That's a new livery for him. That's not the same livery he was in last week.
It's not, but it's a good-looking hot rod.
It's a good-looking car.
Yes, it is.
Great-looking car. Yeah.
Yes, it is. But O'Donohue might be one of those that's saving some tires. We're gonna continue to follow his run. Right behind him, Joshua Siegfried in the 99. That's a car that we haven't seen a whole ton at the front, but good to see Josh running in the top 10. And then rounding out that crew, you've got Justin Osterman, and he had a run last week where he hit just about everything but the pace car. For Justin Osterman, but here he is running along in the top 10. And we kind of mentioned it with Greg Evans. There are tracks, as Justin Kirby checks into the chat. Want to say hello to Justin. And yeah, Justin's right. Greg is one of the best in the car in the service. Get some laps on the tires, and we'll see him. We'll watch him go. There is a massive battle that has brewed now for fourth. Evans has got clear. Milnes has been overtaken in wholesale fashion. That's Dylan, Kendall Paul, Dylan Godness, Colby Pierce have all gone by.
Out back at the back of the field there, and I can't tell who it is because it almost looked like he reappeared inside of another car.
It did momentarily, but everybody got sorted out. Milnes holds station there in 6th. You're looking at Kendall Paul. He's gone to 4th. Meanwhile, Justin Kirby just mentioned get some laps on the tires. We're 20 laps into this run, Mr. Crow.
And really, that's where you'll start seeing the difference between what tire wear each driver is going to be experiencing. Somewhere in the 20 to 25 lap range is usually when you start seeing where cars are going to start making moves. They'll either start backing up or they'll start going forward. So that's usually the barometer that I go by when I'm racing, is to try to find a nice place to conserve up to a certain point and then work your way through the field if you can, if you've saved that much, because the right front will really take the brunt of the wear here at this track.
Yeah, and with 21 laps down, working lap 21 coming to get 22, the fastest man on the track, that's Greg Evans. Don't want to leave him, so put a pin in that thought. Colby Pierce has been battling Nolan Milnes tooth and nail for this 6th spot for about the last 5 circuits. He can't quite seem to get it done, and I got to believe you just mentioned right front tire. I got to believe trying to make that pass around the bottom is not doing Colby's right front any favors.
I've been interested in watching in the broadcast, and I always go back and watch the broadcast anyway, so I'm getting to see it firsthand in this particular race. But I'm always fascinated at how well some drivers are able to keep the car on the white line, especially in this particular track, because that sweet spot in 1 and 2 is very, very narrow. Whereas you have a little bit more racing room in 3 and 4. I would say the preferred line might actually be even a half of a car width off the bottom. But I do love that Las Vegas gives you some variation of what you can run and race, because it's not always just follow the leader. There are opportunities that you will have, like Pierce passing Milnes and trying to work past him. There are opportunities all around this racetrack for you to make up spots, and some tracks you don't have that, but Vegas does give you that option.
Yeah, and there's a great shot of it riding on the roll bar for Colby Pierce. We'll get
great shot, Mark.
Here's another one. It's looking if you were the passenger with Colby Pierce, and I don't know if I'd want to be the passenger in any of these cars. But
none of them.
None of them. But you can hear from this shot, especially inside the car on that right front. Not only
getting loose there.
Yes, he is. If you can hear. I'm going to be quiet just for a minute. I want the fans at home to watch the telemetry and listen to him go through these corners, play with the throttle, and you can actually hear as Colby gets into the wall a little bit. You can actually hear the right front scream.
When the cars are going through 1 and 2 with those bumps, it wants to throw the car out toward the turn 2 wall. That's what he just experienced, because about halfway through that corner, once the suspension becomes upheaved, then the weight of the car actually wants to, and inertia wants to push that car toward the wall. So that's why Colby experienced what he experienced there. It's really a fine line through 1 and 2. You either have to run high, come off low, or you have to just really keep it down on that white line and be able to manage the car so that you don't posterize the right side of the car, so to speak.
You do indeed. Want to check back into this battle at the front. Greg Evans is looking out the windshield, and that's what he sees. He picked up another 10th on Adam O'Brien that time. Greg Evans within a shade over 3/10. It's about 10 car lengths, and he is coming. That's a great shot, too. You were talking about how loose the car gets. You can almost read the lettering on the side of Adam O'Brien's machine from Greg Evans' windshield.
If you look back through the field, it is amazing to see how much handwork are going on these steering wheels. These drivers are starting to get a handful of these cars. The more wear on these tires, it wants to push on exit, and it wants to get loose in certain, especially if you're coming off low.
Whoa, we got trouble. Colby Pierce.
All right, man, caution is out. Caution is out.
Hard into the inside wall. 99 is with him. Colby Pierce and Joshua Siegfried.
Oh, we were just watching Colby.
Yeah, we were just watching him.
We were just riding along with him. Did he get was there contact there?
I don't know if there's contact. We're going to bring it in closer and look here. He is definitely
Wow,
fighting
what an
that
impact.
automobile. Yeah. Well, watch Joshua Siegfried gets loose on the bottom, and there's your contact. So there was contact
See,
made, and both cars just hard.
yeah, Colby's already loose. A little loose right there, not much. He's managing this car, but Siegfried is definitely got a handful and overcorrects. Wow.
Hard.
Man, that impact on the inside wall. Wow.
It is atrocious. That hurts. Colby
I think
Pierce.
Siegfried had it. I think he had it saved, but Colby Pierce just happened to be there. And so tough break for those drivers. They both had those cars saved, and they were just so close in their racing, and so it's just really different. Oh, I just hate it for both drivers. I really do.
They were. Now here's your pit situation, because we've got some split strategies happening. Adam O'Brien is your leader. Jacob Cannon is now second, because there are about a dozen cars on pit lane. Those cars were led down there by Greg Evans. Now they're going to have by my count, they're going to have about 8 laps. Well, they're going to have, oh golly,
they're going to have more like, it's going to be more like 10 laps.
Yeah, they're going to
10 or 12 laps.
They're going to do that. Greg Evans is going to come back out. There you see him leading the train off of pit road. Greg Evans is going to come back out in 22nd. Now,
how long was his pit stop?
He was on pit road 9.1 seconds.
I wonder if he took left sides.
I wonder if he took left sides. You definitely don't want to take rights. If you take rights only, that's going to make you
correct.
It's going to make you loose.
So I wonder if he took left sides.
Yeah, he might have taken left sides. It might have. I'd find it hard to believe he did gas only.
When the mandatory caution comes out, he'll take his right sides.
Yeah, that would make sense, because you're not going to put that much strain on the lefts in 10 laps.
Nope, you sure aren't. There's not near as much heat loss and wear on the inside tires, on the left side tires, as there is on the right side.
Now, Evans and Godness.
You burn the right rear.
You do burn the right rear.
Ahead,
Evans and Godness are in that 2-tire bracket. Kendall Paul, Nolan Milnes, Andrew Miller, Eric Corder, Christian Light, Sean Mott, Sean Merriman, Caleb Jones, all either got 4 or repaired damage. Colby Pierce and Michael Kirk are on pit road repairing damage, as is Joshua Siegfried. Mark Ellett, John Guerrera, and Ted Craven are out of the race and have punched out of the server. And so just to kind of give you an update on those automobiles, we're going to go back up and take a look at the leaders, because we're getting ready to restart this. Thing. And Sam, this is going to be interesting because there are a bunch of guys out there on some old wore-out tires, 31 laps. We've had a couple of cautions in there, but the ones that the tires on the front row there of O'Brien and Cannon, they're pretty well scuffed. Wonder how far Evans and that crew can make it up. Remember, they're starting 22nd.
Well, it's not just about making it up, but it's a very... This is the gambling that I was talking about at the beginning of the race, because when you make decisions like this and you put yourself in midfield, then you put yourself susceptible to whatever other drivers may be experiencing in front of you. And so, it is a bit of a gamble to try and make this kind of strategy, make it stick and make it work in your favor. And so I'm with you. I'm interested to see how far they'll come up through the field, but I'm also interested to see if we can avoid calamity for the next 14 laps.
That's a salient point, Sam. Green flag back out. Adam O'Brien gets into the power. He streaks away from Jacob Cannon and Justin Osterman. Osterman's going to go for second on Cannon. He's going to have it. Move him to second. Cannon to third. Trevor Benz now looks to follow through. He's in fourth, and Mark Cofield is fifth. Already seeing Greg Evans move through the field. He made up 2 spots. He and Kendall Paul both are making up spots. Now they're up 3. Evans is up 3 just on the initial restart. There he is. He's working to the inside of the 46 of Edwin James. This is going to be the story. If there's not a battle for the lead here, we're going to stick with Evans and Paul as they try to charge through this field. Right up on the back of the 46, almost contact. Evans turns it left, uses the fresh tires, and goes right on past. And here comes Nolan Milnes. He's going to make it 3 wide.
Evans he is driving like a madman to get up to the front.
Well, he's one of those that is on the 4 tires, down to the apron, Nolan Milnes.
And then listen, and he's got cars in tow with him. There's Milnes and Paul. They're equally wanting to get up there up front.
Yeah,
I wonder if Milnes took 4 tires.
Milnes, well, the time would indicate spinner on the bottom, caution. Joseph Klein around. And there's the car, Joseph Klein, and I believe that's going to be day done for the Reese's machine. Smoke pouring from under the hood of that automobile. And just another, Sam, hard impact with that inside retaining wall. Klein was running along in pretty good shape. He's up there in the top. He's up there in the top 5, running along with Mark Cofield there in the 97. They come off the corner. Cofield gets a little loose. Side contact happens with a 7. Around they go, and that inside wall is just a magnet, isn't it, Sam?
Oh, the issue is once there's so much heat in these tires and the car begins to slide, brakes are really irrelevant at that point.
Well, and something
it really is. They just are so slick.
Something I noted too, and this is just something that I noted. We'll go back to the front of the field. O'Brien, Osterman, Cannon, Benz, and O'Donohue, your top 5. Something I noticed earlier today, just logging back into the sim. Again, it is week 13, and so week 13 does crazy things to the service and to the cars. I noted that my settings were off. So you talked about brakes. I was running just some test laps around here. Went to grab the brakes, pushed the pedal on the Fanatec V3s of the floor, and I got about 20% brake. So,
oh, wow.
So and that's something that happens sometimes during service updates when they update the UI.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, when they update the UI, is you're going to see some things sometimes in the settings that maybe kind of aren't quite right, because when they update the settings, they also update the INI file, which resets everything to factory. And so if guys weren't careful, if they didn't go back through and update that stuff, it's just like turning wrenches on a regular car. If you don't update that stuff, you might find yourself in unfamiliar territory and things that don't work exactly as you're used to them doing. The car that was blinking, by the way, that's Mark Cofield. We see him run along in 6th. That didn't have anything to do with the accident. That was straight loose in contact. But just wanted to point that out, Sam. My throttle was perfect and my wheel position was perfect, but the brake had been miscalibrated with the update.
Wow. That's unusual. That's why I was saying it's unusual that you would only have one input device or one part of the input device that was having an issue like that. Usually, for me in updates, it's usually something like sound or a graphic setting that gets altered, and I have to fix that. But speaking of updates, mine has finally worked out, and I'm live with you into the broadcast now.
That's wonderful news, and I'll give you some more wonderful news. We just got a message, a friendly howdy, boys, from the man himself. Mike Rigney's joined us.
George.
No, it's Mike.
Oh no, that's Mike Rigney.
It's Mike Rigney, the ISRA Racing Series. Mike Rigney. Glad to have you, brother. Always wonderful to see you. Always wonderful to see.
Always good to see Mike Rigney.
Always is, and it's always good to see members of the community support other members of the community, and you can do that. Go get you some paint from Black Magic Studios. Buy some Rogue Energy drink. Support Archway Industrial Coatings, Track Racer, Admin Box, all the groups that make this possible. I was just talking to Fish over at Admin Box today. Mr. Rigney had said that he was looking at one of them. I happen to have one, Admin Box, a longtime personal sponsor of mine. You see him on the deck lid of Adam O'Brien's machine, and we're gonna put those two together and see if they can't work something out for old Mike Rigney there. Coming back to green.
I see Mr. Siegfried kind of jumps into our chat, and he kind of gives us a little update about what happened there, and he said it was a misjudgment on his part, and he thought he would have been clear on exit, but he probably didn't know that Colby had a handful of his car as well. And so it's just one of those racing incidents. Like I said, I just feel bad for both drivers just simply because they both had the cars saved and they were working it through the second corner, and it didn't end well. I hate that.
Yeah, and sometimes these D-shaped ovals, they look they look, fairly pedestrian to the naked eye, but they can really narrow up in certain spots, Sam. And here, it most certainly.
Wellness, wide, high, wide, and handsome, way up on the top side.
He's going for it again.
He's not going to stop. He's not going to stop. He's going to do it on 1 and 2 here as well.
Yes, he is. He's going to go to the high side, turn number 1 around.
He had to take 4 tires. There's just no way.
Yeah, he's definitely got 4 on that thing. He's going to go around the 57 of Brian Wasserman, 44 Lee
As
Campbell.
we watch Kendall Paul pass Greg Evans back in the pack as well.
Right, now Evans is moving forward. He's made up 5 spots. Kendall Paul has made up 7 now. He's passed Michael
I think
Moquin.
both those drivers are being a little more methodical with their decisions and how they're making their passes. But they also have to keep in mind that those left sides are going to have to last them another 40-something laps in the next stage.
Well, Kendall Paul did get 4 based on the time. Greg Evans.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. Now Greg Evans is the one that got 2. Joseph Klein joins in the chat. Nolan Milnes has made it to 6th. He's got 15. He's got 5 laps to go to see if he can make it up to Jacob Cannon and Adam O'Brien. Cannon has taken the lead from O'Brien, but the rocket ship is riding on that number 1 Gatorade machine. That's Nolan Milnes. He is coming to the front in a big hurry, and that's why the camera is on him. Joseph Klein just says it came off too looser than everything and door slammed. Hate it for the Reese's machine. Had an absolute hot rod. We hate it for you too, Joseph. We'll see you back next week. It's a tough break. Everything just comes together over there, and that's racing, as they say, right, Sam?
Unfortunately, there are tough segments to racing, and then there are the glorious segments of racing.
There are. And speaking of glorious, man, I'll tell you what, Adam O'Brien and Cannon, whoa, they knocked together. That's going to open the door for Osterman. We're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Meanwhile, as
they make contact coming off of 2.
Again, they're 3 wide for the lead, and here comes Milnes with the fresh tires. He didn't have anywhere to go.
Osterman is there. Oh, and O'Brien comes down on top of him.
And those
Milnes comes in here. They're going to be 4 wide if they're not careful coming down the front stretch.
Now, remember, Osterman and O'Brien are teammates up there. No affiliation between Cannon and Milnes, but my goodness gracious. We've got 3 to go. And remember, there's all sorts of different subtext to this.
And Cannon is just wrenching that throttle through the middle of the corner.
Yes, he is. And remember, there's all sorts of subtext to this. O'Brien is the overall points leader. He does not have a win, so he wants the stage points. You've got Cannon up there who's
those new tires comes around the outside.
Yeah, and I don't believe Adam O'Brien's going to be able to hold him off as much as he tries. O'Brien all the way to the bottom, Milnes all the way to the top.
Oh, Kendall Paul all the way through the grass on cutting the dog leg off.
Well, and here he comes. He's going to make it to 4th.
Oh, and Osterman is sideways, completely sideways. He saves it. Unbelievable.
Kendall Paul loose.
Sideways, and he saves it.
Osterman's still trying to wreck it going through turn 3. He's got it.
These guys are driving like it's the last. Unbelievable. These guys are racing like it's the last lap of the race.
Dylan Godness has gotten through. He's going to go to 2nd. He's one of those that stopped under that last yellow. My goodness me.
Please get to the line for this lap so we can catch our breath.
Holy mackerel. Nolan Milnes comes from 20. He restarted 23rd. He's going to come back. He's going to win the stage. If Dylan Godness doesn't have anything to say about it, Godness is going to throw it on the high side. Here it comes.
He's going to make a run at it.
Here he comes. Did Milnes use up all the tires? I don't think Godness is going to have time to get to him. They come to the line.
Oh, it's going to be close.
Well,
Milnes by half a car.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Okay. Now, if this is any indication. Now, I did go back and look. Did you notice that they have 6 sets of tires?
Oh. How many sets do they have, Sam? How many?
6.
How much can I need you to call my wife and get some Rolaids over here? Nolan Milnes is the winner.
I just knew that Justin Osterman was going to be completely sideways in front of the field. He saves it. Then just in front of him, Kendall Paul, he saves it. Unbelievable driving. Masterful driving. Now, I did say early in the broadcast, I did say that once these cars start to go, once they start to back end begins to break loose, you can save them. They are salvageable, but it takes a skilled driver, and these guys are showing what they're able to do. It's amazing, awesome. It's just awesome.
Now that my heart rate has returned to normal, and Natalie has brought me a pair of Tums, we're going to see yellow. We're going to see pit stops here under the yellow light. I don't think it's going to be a huge bet that every single one of the cars that's on the Speedway is going to come to pit lane now. What they do and what they don't do, that's going to be the question. With a tire limit, we know Greg Evans.
Well,
we know
only a quarter of the race is over. I mean, we're only looking at we've only gone a quarter of the race. So with that many sets of tires, there are a lot of options and a lot of things that guys can experiment with this tire, just like with Greg Evans. If he just changed left sides, or maybe he changed right sides, who knows? But there are some options for the driver of the race, or at least even the next stage.
You know, that's a great point, and a great that's a great point. Speaking of guys that want to race it a little different, Dylan Godness, 6.2 seconds in the box. That indicates either fuel only or one.
That does sound like fuel only.
That sounds like fuel only. Everybody else, more or less, is showing that they got 4. There are some cars on pit lane under repair, including Nolan Milnes. Kendall Paul is one of those. Caleb Jones, Michael Kirk. They're still finishing up some repair. Sean Merriman.
Now, does changing your pants include repair?
Whew. I'll tell you what, it might. It might. Braden Langley did.
Oh my heavens!
Braden Langley did not stop, and I apologize if there are some connectivity issues here. I just got a notice that OBS had gone off and popped back on.
We've got several drivers that have called it a night. Sean Merriman is just logged. Sean Mott is 6 laps down. Michael Kirk is 5 laps down. Caleb Jones is 1 lap down.
Yeah, and that's in addition to Klein, Siegfried, Guerrera, and Craven that have already punched out.
Correct.
Colby Pierce, I would wager, is going to be out of the race. He's been on pit lane now for 17 minutes, and so he's 20 laps down. We'll see if he can make it back.
He may want to try and salvage something here at the end, for points.
That's true. One of the things that we did not do was pull up Nolan Milnes, and we're going to do that whenever we get our next yellow, because I want to hear about that wild charge through the
as we say that, Colby has called it a night.
Yeah. But I want to hear about that wild charge at the end of that first stage. Milnes, by the way, is back in 26th. He was 40 seconds in the box, 1:07 on pit road. So clearly he had some damage from somewhere. Be that as it may, we're gonna get back to green. Braden Langley, Donald Green are the front two. They have not been up front. Dylan Godness is on old tires. And Adam O'Brien is the first car with tires. We get ready to go back to the green here at Las Vegas.
Well, they have another stage here, so if they're smart, these drivers will want to settle in and make sure that they just get through the stage. The 6 of Donald Green does not get the best start, but look what smart racing on his part to just pull up to the high side of the racetrack and let faster traffic through. He does get a little loose coming off of 2. Gets into the door of Ryan O'Donoghue.
Yeah, and this is one of those.
He's got a handful of that car. Donald Green has a handful.
Whoa,
Raking up
caution.
front.
Huge accident. Quite a few cars involved, including the 40 of Andrew Miller, and he's been involved.
Oh, that was
in some tough ones.
That was Andrew Miller, who just loses the back end of the car coming off of 4.
Yeah, let's go back and watch.
And once he loses it, he just starts collecting drivers. The 02 goes to evasive measures, and oh my heavens, Justin Osterman, Greg Evans barely misses this wreck. Who else is in this thing?
Well, we're still watching it. We're still watching a replay on the broadcast. We've got Andrew Miller going into turn number 3. Here he starts in, and you see the back end on the 40.
Bends. Tyler Smith is the one who did evasive measures there, and got himself in trouble as well. Donald Green, who had a handful of the car at the time, he clears the accident. Justin Osterman is in this wreck.
There you see
and then
the
he just
02 hit it, Ryan O'Donohue.
Collects Corey Crandall,
Yep.
Mark Cofield.
You see guys
Man,
sneaking
a lot of cars in this wreck.
through on the bottom. We're gonna go back somehow, and then right at the end, you've got a car plowing into the back there. Speaking of clean pants.
Is that going to be the theme of the race tonight?
We're going to go back and watch this. This is from the roll bar of Greg Evans. He sees the car. He sees one car spinning on the bottom. He's got a car in the fence on the top. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Can't see anything. Now they're wrecking all the way up top, but they're starting to slide down the racetrack.
Well, the challenge here is that the O2 is already in the wall on the high side. So you see cars slowing down on the high side, and the centrifugal force takes the cars to the outside, then the track flattens out. So this is smart driving, just that you take the middle lane here, what we call the Days of Thunder lane, and drive through the middle of the smoke. And he used enough brake to not catch the car that was wrecking in front of him. So it's just, again, we're seeing some really, really smart driving, even in the middle of accidents.
Whew. We are indeed, but my goodness gracious, that's kind of what it kind of gives you a sense of what it looks like.
I just can't. Did you see how much air Crandall's car got under him after he hit the wall?
Well, I did.
Thought he was going to go over.
He got hit
over.
He got hit. He got hit in the rear.
Right, by Mark Cofield.
Yes, sir, and that's what drove him up.
But everything's happening so fast. Everything is happening so fast, and Crandall's car just got airborne.
Yes, it did. Well, you don't have much time to react, and especially when you're up high like that, Sam. Not only do you not have much time to react, but if you're in the high line, you don't really have nowhere to go. Yeah.
No, sir. Even whatever input is in the wheel, it's not gonna give you response that quick. It really isn't, especially on the high side. You're just along for the ride.
Right. I mean, you can.
I thought I saw Trevor Benz he was a little bit in. I don't know that he took a lot of damage, but I think that he did take a little bit of front end damage here as he starts in the 5th spot. So the lights are out on the pace car, and we're getting ready to go green again. So I'm interested to see. The O2 is still out there. He did not pit, and he hit the wall hard on the right side.
Yeah. So again, all sorts of different storylines. Watching him come back to green, it's going to be
playing out now.
We got Dylan Godness in the lead. He does not have tires from Jacob Cannon and Adam O'Brien, who do, as does Trevor Benz, but we think Benz has damage. Godness gets into the loud button. He's got a mirror full of Adam O'Brien, though. Jacob Cannon, he's going to work that car to the high side on Trevor Benz. We think Benz may have some damage, though it doesn't appear to have any damage on it. At least it's not running like it does, Sam.
No, these cars seem to be maintaining speed. Oh, the O2
trouble.
is sideways coming off a 4, but he saves it. Greg Evans once again moves underneath of Crandall as he avoids another incident in front of him, and he moves into 5th spot. Wow, he had a handful of that car coming off a 4.
Yeah, let's go back and watch it. Here's the 25 of Braden Langley going into turn number 3. He's right behind the 02 he's right behind the 02 car, and that 02 had been damaged in prior.
Yeah, he was in the prior. Yeah, he was the one that I said had right side damage. He was in that previous accident off 4.
Yeah, there he is. He gets it loose. And the tightrope, once again, is walked by the man in the deuce. Langley's going to miss it. Evans going to miss it. Jason Heaney gets through.
No caution there, and just again, just enough skill driving to save the car and get it straight again.
It is indeed. Jacob
Cannon goes to the lead.
He's going to the lead. Those tires are going to start showing up on the 08 of Dylan Godness here fairly shortly. He rides second. Adam O'Brien, is an interested party in third. He's also got fresh tires. Jacob Cannon, as you see with the purple box, just ran the fastest lap of the race. Do want to thank everybody who's out there watching. It's another banner night here for the AMA series in terms of viewership, and so we have to thank the viewing public. If you have not already done so, and we know that about half of you haven't, go ahead and hit that like button on the video. Smash the subscribe button. Ring the bell. It is absolutely free, and that is the easiest and best way that you can support these sim racers here this evening, and be notified of upcoming P1 broadcasting events. And Sam, we've got a schedule of those for you.
Oh, there's it's exciting to see what lies ahead for P1 broadcasting with all the other events and leagues that we're covering. And so if you like open wheel racing, I want to encourage you to tune into P1 broadcasting, because they broadcast some of the best open wheel race leagues on the internet, and so such as ISRA and others. I was getting a little tickled while you were doing the promo. Sean Merriman pops into chat and he says that he didn't choose to call it the night. There was another Sean that chose for him. Colby Pierce has popped in. I love that the drivers come into the broadcast.
I do too.
Even if they're out of the race, and Colby Pierce jumps in and he said that he's been cleared from the infield care center. And so, Colby, we're glad that you're okay. It was the tough hit that you had there at the beginning of the race. We're sorry for your short night.
It was indeed. Tomorrow night, Sam and I are going to be right back here. Same time, same bad channel for the AMA Archway Industrial.
Pick 'em up trucks.
Pickup trucks here at Las Vegas. Now, you want to talk about an interesting race. We're watching the battle for second between Dylan Godness and Adam O'Brien. You want to see an interesting show, tune it in tomorrow night, because the trucks here, it's kind of a mix between Daytona and this. It'll be like Daytona for about 20 laps, and then they'll spread out.
Correct.
Tires get hot. That'll be an interesting show. That's tomorrow night at 8:20. Sam and I, we're going to be off on Saturday. It is week 13 after all. Sunday.
Well, they give us a day off.
They do. Sunday night though.
All right.
Sunday night though, you're going to see many of the open wheel stars in the iRacing IndyCar service take to probably my favorite track, and I'm going to pull a one-off entry into this one, Sam. Texas Motor Speedway in the Votive IndyCar series. That's going to happen at 7:50.
I know you love it there.
That is going to be a good time. Monday night. To myself and to be determined. I think Clindy wants to race it, Sam. So we're gonna let him jump in the Car Auto Club, and so we're working.
Brian is really dogging Cannon. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but O'Brien is dogging him for that lead.
Yeah, he is, and you got to be careful here. You don't want to burn up the tires. Monday night.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. Trevor Beans, who was in that. I was concerned that he might have some front end damage, but it sure is not showing right now, as he's keeping pace with these leaders right now, and he's trying to work his way up to the front as well.
Well, sometimes, Sam, you adjust it on the wall, it runs a little bit better, and the number 3's been running pretty good since the contact. He's in third. Godness did not take tires on that last stop. He's hanging tough. He's in fourth. You've got to wonder, though, when those are going to show up. We're about 20 laps into the run. Do want to remind everybody, for the official broadcast on Monday and Tuesday night, those are going to be an hour later than normal. 8 o'clock on the 8 o'clock on Monday, 8:15 on Tuesday. Benjamin Franklin gave us a time change last weekend, folks, and so the official races go on Greenwich Mean Time. That means that they are moved back an hour. And then, speaking of races, you can tune in here.
On the wall.
Yeah, you can tune in here Monday night after the open broadcast. We're going to have the ISRA series at Indianapolis for the finale, and won't that be a ton of fun?
I do want to say this, and I'm not just saying this because Mike Rigney is probably one of my dearest friends. But if you are not watching ISRA oval races in the IndyCar, you are missing some of the most exciting finishes in open wheel racing. Other than
this, because Adam O'Brien is going to wear the rear spoiler of Jacob Cannon's car.
Well, I said within open wheel racing.
We don't.
This is exciting. This is exciting.
We don't have spoilers to wear out. There's a car.
I'm telling you.
There is a car slow. I think is going to make it to pit entry. We're not going to have any caution out of that. Adam O'Brien, though, if he's got any tires left on that 87, it's going to be a miracle. He goes to the lead.
Well, he wasn't going to be happy until he passed him.
Yeah, he and Cannon seem determined to wear their stuff down to the ground. They along
our next
with
stage is lap 90, correct?
It is. So those two are racing each other hard for the lead. Trevor Benz has kept up with him. Dylan Godness has not. And look who's in fourth as the server blinks.
Yeah, I've been steadily watching his times between the leaders and himself, and he is slowly progressing up there. I am interested, Mark, if you have the stat for our biggest movers tonight.
I do not. We can kind of quickly go through the field, though, and probably figure it out. Adam O'Brien is your leader. He started third.
Well, Christian Light is running seventh, and he started in 36th position.
Yeah, that's easily going to be the easiest. That's easily going to be the easiest.
So I would say that's probably
mover.
Your biggest mover tonight so far up to this particular point.
Yeah, because it was him.
You got Edwin James, who started 23rd, who's in 9th, and then you've got Michael Moquin, who started 31st. He's in 11th. So there are some guys that have really taken their time to move up through this field, but that's a big jump for Christian Light.
There are, and it is worth mentioning too, Sam, that we've got 24 cars on the lead lap. We've got 28 that are still technically entered in the event. Osterman and Crandall, though, have been on pit lane for 10 minutes. So effectively, 26 cars on the speedway. You're watching Michael Moquin. This is a good opportunity to go through the field. Leading the charge, Adam O'Brien. He's going to be your leader. Jacob Cannon is second. Trevor Benz in the Mountain Dew machine. Mountain Dew colors for First Gear Racing. He is third. Greg Evans, SimLab on the side of the deuce. He is fourth. And rounding out your top five, he has quietly gotten there from 12th starting spot. That's Jason Heaney in the 9. He is going to be fifth. Dylan Godness, he's been up at the front. He's on an alternate tire strategy. Started 9th. He's currently 6th. We talked about Christian Light. There he is. Boulder Crest Foundation on the side of the 96. He is 7th. So 29 spots plus 29 for Christian Light. Great run for him. Kendall Paul.
That's impressive.
It is. Kendall Paul, after a minute on pit lane for a new pair of pants, he started 8th. And after all of that, he started 8th, and he currently runs 8th. The Black Magic Studios Archway Industrial Coatings Storm Tracker 78 machine. You know what his hobby is, Sam?
Kendall Paul?
Yeah, you know what he does? You know what he does for fun?
I do not.
He chases tornadoes. And people thought...
really?
And people thought I was nuts for racing go-karts and sprint cars. He chases tornadoes for fun.
Does he live in the Midwest?
He does indeed. But watching the 78, that's the Storm Tracker 78 on the side of that machine. Brian Wasserman in the 57th is 9th. He started 21st, so that's another big mover. The Mexican Pale Ale Dos Equis machine is 9th, and rounding out the top 10, the 46 for First Gear Racing. That's Edwin James. Ryan O'Donohue is 11th. We've talked about him. He's your pole sitter. He's kind of stabilized about that. Michael Moquin, another big mover. 6 Hour on the side of the 8th. He is 12th after starting 31st. Lee Campbell, Warren Tire Service Centers, Goodyear on the 44. He is 13th. He started 19th. Keith Graham, he's having a pretty good run in the Elite Performance Industries machine. He started 26th. He's currently 14th. That's a pretty big move for him as well. So good run for Keith Graham.
Yes,
Eric Corder is right about where he started. He's running along in 15th.
Looks like we've lost Sean Mott as well. Sean Mott has dropped from the server.
Has indeed. So make it 26 car. Well, no, he was one of those that was on pit lane, I think. So 20.
Oh, was he on pit lane?
Yeah, so 26 cars still on track, still running. You got 28 in the server. Osterman and Crandall, lengthy repair. But there's Langley in the 225 as it's numbered on the car, 25 in the series. He's going to be 16th. John Hutchins in 72 is 17th. Give John his due. Nolan Milnes has been everywhere on this thing. He won a stage. He's been at the back. He's currently 18th. He started second. He has had lengthy repair, but there he is. He continues on in 18th. Donald Green, at long last, he's been as high as second, but he's getting some laps in that 6th. Do not give in to the war within in veteran suicide. Wonderful message on the side of that 6 car. Caleb Jones in the Dwayne Jones Racing 12F is currently 20th. Brian Sharp has avoided the trees. He's on the lead lap. He is 21st after starting 22nd. You cannot miss that car, Sam. It's not.
What?
You cannot miss Brian Sharp's car. It's not
No,
brightly painted,
it's
but
probably-
you cannot miss it.
The first thing that I thought when I saw that car was I was thinking of Kim Block. It looked like something that Kim Block would use on one of, rest in peace for Kim Block. But it just made me think of him, the way the car looked. It looked like something that he would drive.
You're right. It kind of does. And Brian Sharp, he races slingshots, as does Adam O'Brien in the dirt tracks in Pennsylvania. So Sharpie, a very accomplished driver in real life. Tony Carricker, he runs the McDonald's 94 and 22nd. There's Troy, excuse me. Tyler Smith in the 02. He just about came to grief earlier, but he maintains his position on the lead lap, 23rd. One lap down, there's Keith Ayers in the 98 24th. Michael Kirk in the 54 is 25th. He is 5 laps down, and 8 laps down runs Mark Owlett in the 80. Out of the race, Sean Mott, Justin Osterman, Corey Crandall, Andrew Miller, Mark Cofield, Sean Merriman, Joseph Klein, Colby Pierce, Joshua Siegfried, John Guerrera, and Ted Craven. That is through the field here, and we're gonna get the fancy graphics away. We're gonna get you back to the front of this field. It has spread out a little bit. Adam O'Brien has pulled about half a second off of Jacob Cannon, and then another 7/10 or so back, Greg Evans. The front three are about a half a second in front of Trevor Benz, and there's Trevor, and it is a long way back to Kendale Paul.
Yeah, we've noticed that Greg Evans has managed to make it past Trevor Benz and get up, but his advance to the front is actually kind of stalemated. Once Adam O'Brien was able to clear Jacob Cannon and get fresh air on the nose, he was able to set sail and really run his race, his pace. And so Adam is proving that his win here before is not a fluke. He knows how to navigate around this racetrack.
He most certainly does, and Adam O'Brien is another one of those Pennsylvania guys that he runs the slingshots and the micro sprints and such on a regular basis, and that skill at managing sliding tires and driving a loose race car. We've got a hood flying down the front stretch, but that skill at managing those things, it comes in handy when these things start to get slick and greasy, doesn't it, Sam?
Oh, it's amazing to me how some drivers are so comfortable with a car that is out of control, and with force feedback the way that it is and direct drive wheels now, online drivers have really gotten a feel for how the car behaves in a loose condition. Whereas some drivers like it tight, but drivers like O'Brien and Cannon and Evans and some of these others, they're proving that they're in their good feels here with these cars that are a little bit more on the free side.
Well, and that's something that I always have struggled with in a stock car. In a stock car, you almost want to slip the right rear tire. No, Colby, we do not have reporters in the infield. Maybe we'll dispatch virtual Sam down there, or maybe we'll get you up in the booth here in a minute. But at any rate, one of the things that always is hard for me going from an IndyCar background to these, either in real life or in the sim, you drive a stock car off the right rear. That's where your grip and your speed comes from. In an open wheel car, we set those things up for gentle understeer, because the last thing you want in a ground effects car is for the thing to get loose. Watching that was the 06, the 6th of Donald Green. He is very slow on the bottom of the speedway coming to pit road. That was the car that you saw.
Right, he's not making his way back up the field, back up the racetrack. Excuse me.
No, he's coming into pit road. There appears to be damage to the right front of that automobile. You see the right front tire kind of caved in.
He's got a handful. He certainly does have a handful, even entering pit road.
Yeah, so tough break for Donald Green there.
About the time that I make comment about things evening out, we see a battle about to materialize for second place here. Greg Evans is going to actually, Jacob Cannon clears the bottom for Evans to allow him to go on by.
Well, I don't know necessarily he's letting him. Maybe he selected that he's going to
No, I heard
fight
him.
back
I
on
heard
the
him in
outside.
chat. I heard him in chat. Tell Greg to take the low line.
There he
Of
goes.
course,
But
he may prefer the high line. Who knows?
right. Sometimes you just prefer that. Say, hey, I'll give you the bottom. I'm going to run the top, and you do you, and I'll do me.
Right.
He's not seeded the spot, but he's not really racing him all that close either.
Well, Greg could be very tentative on the bottom as well because how loose the car is. He doesn't want to take a chance of taking he and Jacob both out.
And that could be too.
Jacob's a racer. He's not going to get. Oh, he gets sideways off too. Great save there.
If we had a nickel for every time that we said great save tonight, we wouldn't have to work for Gary anymore. So. Still the best battle on the Speedway. This is the run for second, and finally Sam gets it. Greg Evans gets by. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, speaking of nickels and making money, we've certainly got our money's worth tonight so far.
We most certainly have. There's Dylan Godness. He's going to get by Brian Wasserman, move Godness back up to ninth. He has managed not having tires just about as well as I think we could have imagined. He's maintained his position in the top 10, and if that holds up, Dylan Godness could be looking at some stage points here and have an extra set of tires going into. Well,
you can actually, in a long run on these tires, depending on who pushes the hardest and how they drive the car, you can the tire wear can level out at a certain point.
Yeah, it's not cliffy. In other words, you get to where
correct.
You get to where they're wore out, and then it just doesn't fall off anymore.
Right, and it just kind of until you get to that less than 30% measurement on the right front, or you use up too much right rear and you're not getting any bite coming off, or it's extremely loose, and then your throttle control changes. I mean, you can see these tires kind of level out, and that might be the case for Dylan Godness, why he's been able to maintain those positions for so long.
There's a detail on Ryan O'Donoghue's car that I wanted to point out. Looking at the back, he's got the grill taped up to look like an American flag. That's pretty cool looking. I hadn't noticed that before. We were talking about his paint scheme, but the detail that some of these guys put into these cars is incredible.
No, the liveries are so nice.
Yeah, they are. Now, speaking of nice and close, the liveries for Ryan O'Donoghue and Christian Light got really close right there. Matter of fact, they touched, as you saw from Christian Light's bumper. That's going to put O'Donoghue underneath Light. This is the battle for 7th. Light has it. O'Donoghue wants it. Godness watches on. Now, there is a stage at lap 90, Sam, so we're going to be coming
correct.
to it.
So when we complete this lap, then we should be getting to the end of the second stage.
Now, you don't throw it until 10th.
What you see, too, is some of these drivers, I'm really surprised that they're fighting so hard for this position here in the closing part of the stage.
Well, stage points. Stage points. Adam O'Brien, the stage winner.
That's true.
Yeah, you do get stage points in the series. So if you're running the full championship, you want those stage points. And for somebody like Greg Evans, and I'm going to go ahead and flash the playoff standings back up. If you're somebody like Greg Evans that's 36 below the cut line, you want those stage points. Sean Merriman is the last man in right now. He's out of the race. Ryan O'Donoghue's not having a great night. Neither is, Jason Heaney is 6th. Colby Pierce is out of the race. Justin Osterman's out of the race. If you're Greg Evans, you want to make hay while the sun's shining tonight in terms of points. And so, of course,
especially considering the windfall that he's had to experience in the first 3 races. I mean, he wasn't at COTA, and both of the plate tracks he did not have good showings, just simply because he was caught up in so many other incidences. And then Phoenix, he was racing up front for some of the race, but once he got back in the pack, he got caught up in some other issues and had to call it an early night and lost. I think he was 22 laps down after that, or he finished 22nd, I believe.
That's quite true. We're going to see pit stops here, wholesale fashion. The 12 is going to stay out, as is Justin Osterman. Both of those cars are laps down, it appears, and so they're just going to try to get the wave around. Adam O'Brien going to lead Greg Evans down the pit lane. Jacob Cannon is 3rd. I guarantee you it's going to be 4 tires all the way around for everybody here. What do you think about that, Sam?
No question. The car's begging for that rubber. There's no question. They're begging for tires. And so everybody will be coming out, and everybody will be on a level playing field again once we get to this restart. I think that by taking the wave around, Caleb Jones will be able to get back on the lead lap. However, I'm wondering what his tire situation might be.
Very true. It's all about tires here at Las Vegas. 93 of 200 complete. We are under the second stage caution. We're going to go ahead and grab. I'm going to go ahead and grab. Well, he's in no
Let's pull
talk.
somebody up. That's a good idea.
Let's grab. Let's talk to. I'll tell you what. Let's talk to Kendall Paul.
Okay.
And I moved him into race control. And not
Donald
into.
Green has said that he has pulled his car behind the wall, and he's called it a night. He's getting evaluated in the infield care center. Sorry for your early exit there, Donald.
There you go. We've got Kendall Paul in the booth. Kendall, you've got Mark and Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's going on?
Well, I'm sorry I threw you in race control. That's my fault. I have to get better with the clicking. But, Kendall, you had probably one of the wildest moments of this race following Nolan Milnes up through the field. It looked like synchronized spinning, and we both thought that you'd had it. You saved the automobile. Are there down there in the Dark Horse pits? Do you guys still have clean brown pants? Or are you guys all out?
We're running a little bit low, at least in the 78 pit box. We've had a couple of close calls going from the back to the front multiple times. So hopefully we can stay up here right where we're at, and hopefully add something toward the end for a couple of these guys.
All right, good deal, Kendall. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the booth. We're going to put you back down with your team, and thank you so much for joining us. That's Kendall Paul. He runs along in fourth. If fans will recall, coming to that first stage, he had a wild ride that sent Sam and I for the Malox jugs. But Kendall has recovered. He is back in fourth. Adam O'Brien leads it. Greg Evans second. Jacob Cannon third. Trevor Benz is going to round out your top five. And how about Christian Light? All the way from the back to sixth. Give your hats off to that man.
Absolutely, he's had a great run, but Christian's proved that he's a fast driver, and he can wheel that car, especially getting it to the front.
Most certainly does. Barney's got the green flag, and you know what that means, Sam?
We're green to the end. Let's go. Let's see if things will level out here. I personally believe that these drivers are going to split this into one stop. So. Well, since there's 95 laps, they can get 53 laps, then it'll be 106 laps. So it's going to be close on fuel, depending on how much fuel they're able to save. It's going to be close. It will be close.
It will be close, and if you're somebody that's not good at saving fuel, why not just go ahead and I apologize. That is not the server. That is my internet. And so I'm experiencing some technical difficulties here. I appreciate everybody's patience at home. It's cut out a couple of times, but we seem to be coming back strong now. What it's doing is, Sam, it's wanting to switch between 5 and 2.5 gigahertz on the channel.
Oh, I see.
And so,
so that's the blinking that we've seen.
Well, some of it, I've cut out twice, and that's on me.
Okay.
When it comes back, it's fine. Hard in the wall there, we saw a big hit for the three of Trevor Benz down the backstretch last time by. That's going to affect him. Meanwhile, the battle at the front rages. It's O'Brien followed by Cannon. He is Greg Evans in third. Kendall Paul, with the fresh pair of pants, is in fourth. Dylan Godness runs long in fifth. That strategy paid off for Godness. And if you look at the top of your screen, there's a familiar face that was at the front of this deal at the beginning. That's Nolan Milnes. He's made it back to ninth. He is working on O'Donohue and Light for 7th and 8th. Light and O'Donohue.
This last couple of laps, O'Donohue has decided that of course, he was the fastest car in practice, and so he's proving why he was fast, but he is clipping off passes one right after another.
You think it could have been just a case of fast guy playing possum, Sam?
Well, it could or it couldn't, because when you see a car decisively faster on these restarts, then there is that percentage of a chance that he's pushing to get up there to the front, and then allow the tire wear to, if it'll even out enough that he may only lose. He'll gain more positions at the beginning of the run than what he would lose in the middle of the run. So there's certainly an opportunity for that, but now they're too wide in front of him. He really has nowhere to go, whichever be side by side going into one. But it's a different strategy for different drivers and how they want to approach this particular part of the race, because now that they're getting stretched out and they're getting in line and they know they have tire conservation that they have to take into consideration, as well as fuel mileage, then you really have to plan the race as you are comfortable, because what's good for O'Donoghue may not be the strategy that Kendall Paul has, or Adam O'Brien has, or even Dylan Godinez. So many times these front runners will just kind of follow the leader and just see what those cars in front of them are going to do, but there'll be other drivers that'll be far more aggressive, like Dylan Godinez right now as he passes Greg Evans.
That's a great point. And the other thing that happens here is, not everybody's going to be on the same schedule as you alluded to, but what's the winning move? Do you stop early, try to get that big lead and make everybody come get you?
Can't stop early with the fuel mileage the way it is.
Right. And then
you're going to have to run the entire fuel run in order to make that last run. You can't pit early.
Okay. And so then the next question is, does it pay to save a ton of fuel here? Maybe back up a little bit, save an extra lap or two, and you can go that much harder at the end. And if you do that, if we get to the end and it's close on fuel, we get a green-white checker. That throws the whole thing out the window. You're going to have guys running out of gas, just coming back.
Well, a caution's going to change everything. There's no two ways around that. And we found that as the tires get wear on them late in the run, these cars are a handful. I mean, there are so many unpredictable. Oh, and Trevor Beans gets back in the wall as he comes out of two, and Kendall Paul's on the inside of him.
He heard me talk.
There's so many different unpredictable factors that can come into play.
Sam, he heard me talk about adjusting it on the wall. Might have made him faster. He's tried it a couple more times. I don't know that it's helping him out. That's Ryan O'Donoghue. Well, I take it back. That's Kendall Paul dropping to the bottom of Trevor Benz. Ryan O'Donoghue is the interested party behind, and that's what that looks like from the roll bar of the 14. Benz on the top, Paul on the bottom, front four stretched out in front of these three.
It's going to be, I know for me, if you're in a race like this and you're running in the top five, like we've seen, and Cannon gets into the back of O'Brien going into one a little bit, gets him a little loose as he looks inside of him. But if you're in the top five or top 3 to 5 in these instances, and you've been racing around these guys now for 100 laps, you're starting to learn their strengths and their weaknesses. And so it's going to be interesting to see how these things play out later in the run. We have seen, especially the top 4 drivers have actually shown that they do have pace late in the race. Kendall Paul, now that he's in a better position here in 5th, he could very well prove that he too can do this. So it's going to be strategic to see who's going to make a push late in the run, like what we're seeing with Greg Evans right now as he gets on the inside of Dylan Godinez. Who's going to make a push late in the run? Who's just going to ride it out till pit stops in hopes that the pit stops are going to variate places on the track? There's a lot of strategies that can go into this with the top 5 going later in the race.
Most certainly is contact Godinez.
He saves it. Greg, that was amazing. That was an amazing save. Greg Evans decided to take the middle lane. Dylan Godinez probably didn't realize that he was that close. They make contact, and Godinez makes a tremendous save.
Yes, he did. Full sideways, and we saw it live. For Dylan Godinez, he's going to slap back in 8th spot right in front of Nolan Milnes and the lap machine of Justin Osterman. And, you think about that. We've been talking about tires. He's now at least made the right rear pretty mad. And Dylan Godinez is going to have to live with that now For the
Yeah,
next,
well, Greg Evans has actually come into chat and he's told Dylan Godinez he apologized. That he took responsibility for that.
and that's Greg Evans, and that's the stand-up guy that we all know him to be. Of course, Greg Evans continues
Oh well,
along.
he'll stand up for something he's done wrong, but he'll also stand up for something he hasn't done wrong.
Also very true, but he's closed that gap right back to the front. It's now back down to less than half a second, right up on the rear deck lid. Greg Evans is coming for Jacob Cannon and Adam O'Brien. He sees him. He's got the bit between his teeth, Sam. I don't think it's going to be too much longer before we see this deuce in the lead.
I would not even try to make that prediction. As hard as Adam O'Brien and Jacob Cannon has been running tonight, they're both consistent. Their speed has been really good through the middle of the run as well as late in the run. So Greg may have been saving something. Who knows? But for the most part, I think these top four cars are really, really going to be even here going into the final stage of the race.
We'll see, as the man says. We'll see. Greg Evans, and you can see it looking out the windshield. The gap is closing. He has been faster the last 3 circuits by over a tenth quicker that time than O'Brien and Cannon. 35.98 to a 31.674. Evans versus O'Brien, and so he is definitely the driver of.
We're getting close to that 20-lap mark. We're getting close to that 20-lap mark, and the field is already stretched out a good bit already.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about there's about 12 seconds between the first and the last going to lead lap. That's
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's
so we see Caleb Jones was able to get his lap back, but now he's already gone back down a lap.
Well, and so the bulk of the field now is within the same half a lap. You've got the 98 is about 5 or 6 seconds up the road here, and then the 12 is about 10 seconds in front of him. Everybody else is more or less within that same 12 second arc. Battle for the lead, though, Adam O'Brien and Jacob Cannon.
Now this is interesting because if these guys get up here fighting at door to door for several laps, that builds heat in these tires. And it can have an impact on the long run. So those cars that are behind them are actually going to be able to close that gap if they decide that they're going to race side by side.
It can indeed. Watching them side by side, that is O'Brien, and that is O'Brien and Cannon. And again, I do apologize for the technical difficulties here. That is my internet connection. Greg Evans is going to run along in third. The longer these two battle, though, you would think that's only benefiting the man in third.
Oh, not just third, but you see Kendall Paul is actually closing this gap as well. And so that's what I was saying. If they're side by side, it is going to promote more tire wear on their cars, and the ones that behind them are only going to be able to wait them out and use less tire. So it can have a long-term effect on this particular run as we're 20 laps in. Oh, and they get extremely close off of 2.
Yeah, I was going to say if you're having tire wear issues, 8 of them can be better than 4. That was leaning on each other going through 1 and 2 there. And here comes
Jacob Cannon. That car was extremely low coming out of 4. That is a hard line to hold. That is a hard line to hold with these cars.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
Oh, and it looks like Adam O'Brien gets a little loose coming off of 2. If they run this way, Mark, if they continue to stay in this configuration, regardless of who's in which spot in the top 4 or even 5, as we see O'Donohue is now the fastest car who was in practice, who is now closing in on this group. If they can stay in this configuration, then what you're going to find is that this pit stop, if they stay green and a green flag pit stop, it will be the deciding factor. It will be a deciding factor in the end of this race. I'm not saying that it won't be close, but it will certainly make a big difference in who gets up front and who stays up front.
You got it, Sam. Adam O'Brien all the way down to the apron here. Nearly contact going through the D-shaped dog leg there. The 98 of Keith Ayers is going to move to the high side. The front four now are right together. Kendall Paul has moved into this battle, Sam.
Oh, and now Greg Evans is going to look on the inside of Adam O'Brien as they go into 3.
Yep. So
Oh, and he's not going to put up a fight at this point. Adam O'Brien falls in place behind Greg Evans, and so that moves the 2 into the second place. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Greg actually has a sponsor on the back of his car that says "I am second." We're almost 25 laps into this run, and we're seeing where there's still a great battle up front. Jacob Cannon has decided that he's going to take the lead and that he likes the fresh air on the nose of his car, and Greg Evans has decided that he wants to try and see his hand at the front of this field if he can catch him. Greg has not led a lap this tonight that I'm aware of, but he's slowly starting to work on Jacob Cannon here as they come off of 4, and he's looking inside, and I don't suspect that Jacob Cannon's going to give up that position very easily. We're just going to have to wait and see how it unfolds. Kendall Paul still maintains 4th, but Ryan O'Donohue is pulling up closer to him every lap, and Adam O'Brien has decided that he's going to settle in and trying to conserve a little bit here in the middle of this run so that he can prepare for the last. Greg Evans goes to the bottom, and he's going to make a pass on Jacob Cannon, but Jacob Cannon comes back on the outside. As they come through the dog leg, you'll see the deuce going to the low side. They come to the line. Greg Evans leads his first lap, but they're going to race it into 1.
They are, Sam, and I appreciate you carrying the broadcast there for a second. I was trying to make some adjustments, trying to maybe fix some of the technological issues that are happening here. So I thank you for that. Greg Evans does go to the lead. These are the first laps that he has led, but Jacob Cannon, he's not going to give it up easily. There are some battles going on throughout the field. It's just that the one in the front is so doggone good, we don't want to break away from it every time.
You really don't. You really don't. I mean, what is it? There's less than a second that separates the top 5 cars, and all of these drivers are extremely qualified and quick drivers.
They are. They are indeed. Matty Wagner, by the way, checking in, our good old friend Matty Wags. He said Greg Evans needs to run ISRA. He also said that Dover was mayhem, and so Gary Godso had the broadcast for for our good friends at the Elite Racing League tonight. They were doing full distance IndyCar race at Dover, and if you ever want to see something wild, go check out the Elite Racing Network. They had open wheel cars at Dover. And that is literally like trying to fly a jet fighter in a Porta-John. Imagine 200-mile-an-hour laps.
Kendall Paul really gets loose off of 2. I'm sorry.
Yes, he did. It's like trying to fly a jet fighter in a Porta-John. Imagine 210-mile-an-hour laps around Dover.
In an open wheel car?
Yeah.
Oh, and who's taking the peyote for that?
Well, so the Indy Racing League actually did it for real back in the late 90s. If I remember right, Tony Stewart won a...
I rest my case.
Yeah, Tony Stewart won a race there. But my goodness gracious. They did it for real twice. And then the concrete... the racing wasn't bad in the original IRL cars, but the concrete just tore the cars up.
Now we're seeing Greg Evans. Justin Kirby kind of described it best for us tonight, is that once he gets into the later stages of the race, he might start stretching his legs.
Adam O'Brien's stretching the right rear on the 87, mega loose. Watching
We've seen
him.
Kendall Paul get that way as well. We don't know. Greg could actually be pushing the car a little bit harder than he may want to.
Well, let's find out.
Let's go in the cockpit with him.
Yeah, let's find out. Let's see.
I'm gonna jump on board here with him here.
You know, it sounds pretty smooth to me. It doesn't sound like he's fighting it. He's not wiggling around. It's certainly not drifting the car.
Well, the things that have impressed me with Greg over the years is just simply in the times that I've seen him race and studied his racing, his throttle control is so smooth. I have a size 15 shoe, and so that foot gets heavy. I don't have the throttle control that he has, but it does seem to be a big factor in how he's able to save tire and work the car.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw a large correction, but he doesn't. You know, he's turning the thing down there. He's not sawing on the wheel a whole lot. It's moving back and forth, but that's not abnormal in these cars.
No, not with this car and not under these conditions. There is going to be work. There's no two ways around it.
Yeah, speaking of conditions, that's one thing that we haven't talked about tonight is the conditions on the racetrack. 68 degrees in the desert, 88 on the track. It is windy though. Wind is out of the northwest at 18 miles an hour. It's partly
that is a high wind. It is.
Yeah, and so a lot of times leagues, when they come to tracks like this, they'll say, okay, we're either going to make it super hot or we're going to make it windy, but they're not going to make it both. And so the decision was made here tonight to make it windy, but not super hot, and that's probably a good decision. Greg Evans driving away. We do want to flat back here. The battle is now for second. Adam O'Brien and
Adam
Jacob
O'Brien
Cannon.
on the inside of Cannon. And they're so close.
Don't touch,
so
boys.
Whew.
My goodness.
I don't. You could have fit a piece of paper between those cars. They may have even touched, honestly.
If they didn't, if there's not zero X's popping off between those two cars.
And the car is so light there. It is so light there. I'm surprised that Jacob Cannon didn't get more loose in that particular
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a spot right there. It goes again. Yeah, well, that's the spot on a racetrack. If you make contact, the cars are so loaded up off the right rear there. You make contact there, and, Sam, you could push that car around with your hand.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And what's surprising is that it's not taking more air off the rear of the car on Jacob Cannon that he may lose the back end as he does a crossover on Adam O'Brien coming off of 2.
These two have been
not going to give Jacob's. He's a hard racer. He is not going to give up a position that easily, especially running into the late stages of a race.
Those two have been battling for the lead the whole day. Greg Evans goes by.
They have.
And they just simply resume their private war for second as if it doesn't matter. Evans is pulling away.
Showing great patience. It's just kind of letting them have at it, waiting it out to see what's going to be the best result for him. Because as they go, he can very well fall in line to make a pass as well.
You know he could. We're riding on the roof of Kendall Paul. He's got the best seat in the house for this action. That's about the 7th pass that O'Brien and Cannon have put on each other in the last 4 laps.
I think O'Brien may be able to make this one work.
Well, let's see. Cannon.
Well, now he may get a little air off of Kendall Paul's car behind him as they goes door to door into 1.
Cannon pulls the crossover one more time. He can't make it stick.
This is a good line for Adam O'Brien. This is a good line for him. He'll get a run coming off of the high side. Now Kendall Paul pulls up behind O'Brien. It may give him just a little aero advantage there.
It does indeed. I think O'Brien might have him cleared this time.
And O'Donohue has now showed up in the midst of this fight for second spot.
He has.
A 4-car race for second place now. But O'Brien is very good on the long run because he and Evans both had very similar speeds in the late stages of a tire run. So he could very well catch Evans in the closing stages of this particular run, going into pit stops, and we're not too far off of pit stops.
We are not. I was just about to bring that up. These cars have been out 43 laps. We think, of course, we don't know.
I'm thinking somewhere around, if they can get to lap 150. 155 or not even 155. They can't get to 155. You say they've been out 43 laps, so
They've
they'll
been out
have 50
43
more
coming to
laps.
44.
That's 151. Depending on how much fuel they save, they might be able to get. You might see pit stops between lap 151 and 155, somewhere in there.
There you go. And so we're within 10, 15 laps of those pit stops. Greg Evans is your leader. He's pulled out to a 1 second advantage over this battle. This is O'Brien second, Cannon third, Paul fourth, O'Donoghue fifth. Everybody else is pretty much spread out all over the speedway. There's not really a
right. There doesn't. You've got Milnes and Wasserman who seem to be within a second of each other, but everyone else is pretty spaced out at this particular juncture. You've got Hutchins and Keith Graham, they've got their own little battle going in the 14th and 15th spot. And it looks like O'Brien is now starting to pull away from this group from second to fifth, and they've kind of leveled out here, except for O'Donoghue is going to try and look at an opportunity to get by Kendall Paul.
You know he is. We've got the Open Wheel crew has joined us. Gary Gonzo is in the chat, as well as he's carrying on with Matty Wagner and Mike Rigney. Always great to have them around. And speaking of the founder, Gary Godso, if you have not done so, please hit the like button, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. Those are two things that are absolutely free to you. And if you do them, it does help support the P1 Broadcasting Network and these drivers. Help us move up that YouTube algorithm any way you can. Any way you can. We're working 139 of 200. Watching Ryan O'Donoghue work over Kendall Paul. This is fourth and fifth. This is the closest battle on the racetrack. The only other one really for serious position is Lee Campbell in 11th. He's looking at Christian Light. That would be for 10th. Campbell has run Light down. You see the different lines there, but then you also see the wall.
Yeah, there is that barrier out there that tells you this is far as you could go.
And it hurts when you hit it. You talk.
Yeah, for some reason it really means it. It's not a suggestion. It's not a suggestion at all.
Maybe we should do that. We should go around to the finer racetracks all across the United States and paint. And don't hit me on the side of the cement.
Exactly.
So that battle goes on for 10th. We'll go back to Paul and O'Donoghue because O'Donoghue is looking down the inside. Kendall Paul has committed.
Yep. Oh, and he gets a little loose there, but that's a tough pass low on 4. The car unloads so much it gets extremely light when you get that low off of 4.
It does indeed. It's going to be difficult. O'Donoghue's not going to have an easy time here. If you can keep your car wound up, James Hodson checking in. If you can, we got a car on the wall. That's a lap car in the fence back there. We stay green. If you can keep it wound up on the top side over there, you can really make it difficult for a guy to make it past. And finally, O'Donoghue does put Kendall Paul to 5th. Ryan O'Donoghue is 4th. And he'll set sail now. O'Donoghue will for Jacob Cannon in 3rd. But that's the gap up to 3rd place.
Yes, sir.
And those are lap cars there, too. So not only is O'Donoghue going to have to make up 0.7 of a second on Jacob Cannon, he's going to have to drive around some lappers to do it.
Passing is possible at this racetrack, but if you have someone that decides that they want to really race you for a position, you can do it for several laps door to door like that. But again, when you do that, you do generate heat in the tires. Sometimes it makes more sense to maybe either give a little and save your tire and try to come. Let me give you an example. Like Adam O'Brien, Jacob Cannon decided that he wanted to move into that position, into the lead, and when he did, Adam O'Brien finally just didn't race him hard anymore. He allowed him to move on past him, and then later Adam is able to come back by Jacob Cannon because he decides that he's just not going to use up that much more tire in a race door to door early in a run. So it's just more advantageous to think. It's fun to race door to door. It's fun to race for a position. But when you're trying to work your strategy the best that you can and get the best position you can when you go in for your pit stop, it may not work to your advantage to fight for that spot.
Great points all, Sam. We're watching Ryan O'Donoghue, he is catching. He's a tenth a lap quicker now than Jacob Cannon. So we're watching Ryan O'Donoghue fourth. He's running down Jacob Cannon for third. Evans is a second clear of O'Brien, who's a second and a half clear of Cannon. So this really is the best and most meaningful battle for position on the Speedway. Dylan Godden is awfully loose coming off of turn 2. He got a piece of the wall there.
Now we're starting to hear cars that are coming into the pit lane. Trevor Benz just called out that he's coming into pit. This will put him within the window. He'll be within the window. I think everyone will be within the window here. It'll be close. It'll be close.
Well, and we do have some cars that are taking the two-stop strategy. Jason Heaney, Michael Moquin, Edwin James. They pitted 14 laps ago. And so, 14th and 15th, they're trying the alternate. They're trying the alternate deal. As is Troy Carricker. He's 19th.
Oh, O'Donoghue. Something happens with O'Donoghue on the front stretch.
Yeah, let's take
Was
a
that
look.
O'Donoghue?
It was O'Donoghue. He had the 09.
It was.
Yeah, he had the 09 of Keith Graham. That's the lap car. They came together a little bit over there off of turn number
They sure
4.
did.
And
They were
O'Donoghue gets in the
avoiding
wall.
Jacob Cannon, who was pitting at that particular point, and then they made contact trying to avoid Jacob Cannon.
Yep.
Wow. Oh, that's
So-
going to hurt O'Donoghue's run here at the end.
Yep, so there you see Cannon.
You know how much damage he took.
Yeah, there you see Cannon. He's pitting on the bottom. Graham goes to avoid it, slides up in front of O'Donoghue, who has a huge run. Here they go. They come together, and this is a hard hit for O'Donoghue. It's not this one that's going to get him. It's going to be that one. That's a solid lick, and that's going to hurt the aerodynamics on the front of his
That
Chevrolet.
could very well. I mean, that could be one of the instances. He hit that wall hard enough with the right front that it could be one of those instances where the spotter will say you have wheel damage. I mean, it could very well be the case. I mean, I'm not saying that it would be, and I'm not wishing that on Ryan at all. He's had a great run tonight. But one of the unfortunate series of events there with Cannon pitting and the lap car of the 09. Wow, that's just...
And through all that, he assumes the lead.
Yes, I think that he's decided he's just going to try and, if there is damage to the car, he'll try and get as many laps out as he can on this particular run so that he'll have the freshest tires that he can possibly have at the end.
Which turned into 1 lap or 2 laps, because here comes Ryan O'Donoghue. And let's see if he's got damage and if he chooses to repair it. Or Sam, if he just says, look, it kind of is what it is, throw four Mr. Feelgoods on it and let me get out of here.
Yeah, if it's all optional damage, then he can go as soon as the jack hits the ground. He can leave.
Yep, so here he is. We're going to watch the stop.
Who knows? The damage may be enough to tighten him up.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Sometimes you get in a wall a little bit over there, and it helps you out. 2 tires on for O'Donoghue. Flames coming out the tailpipe. He's revving the car up. He looks like he's ready to go, and there he goes. The stop for Ryan O'Donoghue, 14 seconds, 14.7 seconds, 40.4. So no damage taken, or at least nothing that they couldn't fix while they
Nothing
were
significant.
Yeah,
Nothing significant.
Sometimes you get a couple of seconds going while they're putting the
Correct.
lights on.
Correct.
But it's not
Correct.
not huge. Jason Heaney has assumed the lead. Heaney last stopped 19 laps ago. He has a 1.4 second lead over Greg Evans. From having watched Evans in this car in other series past, this is very much a Greg Evans kind of a race. He's made his 1 stop. No doubt that Heaney, Moquin, and James, who are the cars that last stopped 20 laps ago, no doubt they're going to have to stop again. Evans, though, you see him in the picture, he does not.
This just it really fits into Greg's his driving style. He loved long runs. He manages the car very well. He manages his tires, and so it does kind of fit his driving style a little bit more to be able to make an impact on a race that stays green. I'm not saying that he's not fast. He's proved that. I think he was top 5 in speed in practice, but still just conserving the tires, working the track, slowly and methodically, just allowing the race to come to him. That's really Greg's style.
Well, it has come to him. He's led 28 of 154 laps thus far. He goes around Jason Heening like Jason's tied to a post. Moved Greg Evans back to the lead, and it is a substantial advantage back to.
I'm interested to know the difference between why Jacob Cannon, who's after pit stops are cycled completely with the lap cars here or with the other cars, as they cycle. I know Dylan Godinez actually pitted early. How Jacob Cannon was able to get such a significant differential from Adam O'Brien.
So O'Brien was a second slower on the pit lane.
Okay.
But that's not going to be the whole story. I think what you're looking at, because it's a 3-second difference almost between.
It is.
So that's going to be in and out laps. That's going to be in and out laps. We'll go back and take a look at Adam O'Brien here. He's running along there behind the 94 of Troy Carricker, who is a lap down. The apron on these tracks, especially coming off a pit road, can be extremely slick. And the track is slick anyway. And so, if you're not a guy that's, and I'm this way, where I lose a lot of time getting on and off a pit road. If you didn't practice getting on and off a pit road, or you don't know exactly what that apron will bear, it can really cost you a lot of time. And I'm fairly certain that's what happened to Adam O'Brien. He started to whittle the deficit down to Dylan Godinez, Jacob Cannon, and Jason Heeney, but he gave up about 3 seconds getting off a pit road.
I see. So I did see that was unusual. Adam's a great racer, and I'm sure that there had to be a good reason for what happened there.
Yeah, it's just getting off a pit road.
If you want to see something interesting, go back and look at Lee Campbell and Corey Crandall as they're coming off of turn 4 on lap 155. I don't know how we didn't get a caution there, but we didn't.
That was 3 laps ago. It might be outside of my replay spool, Sam, but
yeah, no, I understand. But what was happening was they were racing coming off of 4, and Crandall kind of got loose and hit Lee Campbell in the door, and he just sent him right through the grass in the infield. But Campbell did a great job of saving the car.
He did, and there's Lee Campbell. He runs along in 14th. He started 19th. He's been up as high as 4, so it's been an up and down day for Lee Campbell, but he continues to soldier on. The thing for Lee Campbell is he's not so far from going a lap down, and so we'll keep an eye on that. Greg Evans has pulled out to nearly a 2-second lead now, Sam.
I have a feeling that Jacob Cannon is going to really try and push this run as much as he can, simply because he wants to close the gap up and see if he can catch Evans. But if he uses too much tire, it can hurt him in the long run, and Adam O'Brien will be able to close that gap. Ryan O'Donohue, considering the contact that he had with that incident coming off of 4, has done a masterful job of getting right back up where Dylan Godinez and Jason Heeney, who still have one more stop to make, that he'll be running in the 4th position. It says a lot about Ryan O'Donohue being able to pull that off as much time as he lost on the track in that incident.
It does indeed. Jacob Cannon glitches out. He comes back. We're riding on the roof of the number 20, and that's the gap. That's what it looks like. You mentioned that he was going to try to use as much as he could to maybe try and catch Greg Evans. It's not been successful thus far. He's chopped down about 3.
Well, he just knocked another 3/10 off.
He did.
Knocked another 3/10 off.
He does, and he does have an outright pace advantage. But when you had said that, Evans actually was quicker for the 2 laps before that. So we'll keep an eye on that gap. And it's one of those, too. Even if he gets there, what shape are his tires going to be in for the fight? Yeah.
How much did he use?
How much did he use up? This time through Evans 31.595, Cannon 31.538. So marginally faster for Cannon, but what's it costing him to get that extra, 50 thousandths of a second?
Well, it's just a situation where uh, you never know when you're in a position like this. If you be in second place and you're just thinking, I'm just the first loser.
Well, but
You may want to take that gamble and think, okay, even if I use the tire up, I'm only going to lose a couple of spots
well, guys familiar and
in the
guys
end
not
result.
though. Like guys familiar and guys not though. If that's me and Jacob Cannon spot, I know Greg pretty well. I'm probably not going to push the issue. Jacob Cannon hasn't raced with Greg that often. Maybe he thinks he can push him into a mistake. Meanwhile,
Caution's
caution
out.
is on the
Caution's out.
speedway.
Oh, that changes everything right here.
It does indeed. Who is the caution for is the question.
It looks as though, who is this on the apron? It's Corey Crandall on the apron on the front stretch.
Yeah, and that 35 is bent. Oh. So here's Corey Crandall. He's going into turn number 3.
Right.
Corey Crandall.
Oh, he got a little loose and then overcorrected and caught the wall in turn 4.
Yeah, there it is, and here it comes, and poor Corey Crandall. He's had a rough day anyway. He was running along 28 laps down in 25th place. There you see it start. The back end starts to come around on that 35 machine. The hands all the way over to the right. There they go. Car hooks up straight to the fence, and just a massive impact for Corey Crandall. Going to shoot him back down across the racetrack. Thankfully, nobody hits him, but we are under caution.
All right, all these drivers should have tires. Tires should not be an issue. They should be able to come in here and get fresh tires, and we're going to be going green with about roughly 28, 29, 30 laps to go. And now we're going to find out who the sprinters are. We're going to find out real quick who the sprinters are. We already know O'Donoghue is fast. We know O'Brien is fast on the short run. We know Buchanan is fast on the short run. Greg Evans has proved that he's fast on the long run. There's just a lot going to happen here on this. And it's going to get aggressive and exciting right here, Mark.
It is, and we've got gamblers too. Christian Light did not pit. So Christian Light does not pit. He assumes the lead of the race. You've got a couple of lappers there. That's going to be Osterman and Keith Ayers. They are not going to get laps back, so you can scratch the wave around idea unless Light pulls it in. We'll see momentarily. Greg Evans won the race off a pit road. No deviation, by the way, Sam. Everybody got 4 coming down there. Nobody is going to gamble on 2 tires with 30. Oh, we're going to have, 32 laps to go. Osterman's going to pull it off in the pit lane. Christian Light's going to stay out and take the chance, Sam.
Geez, I wonder, he's probably got 10 laps on those tires or more. 10 or 15 laps on those tires. It's going to be interesting. If he stays out and he's on older tires, say 10 or 15 lap tires, then the specter that looms over a restart is that you do take a chance in wheel spin.
Yeah, that's a great point. Old tires, they're hot, they get cold, they get all the pickup on them.
Correct.
And it's very difficult to accelerate away. Now, the advantage for Christian Light is he gets to choose when he accelerates and how much, but that doesn't mean that Dylan Godinez doesn't run him over because Godinez is going to have plenty
or that
of
they
grip.
get into turn 1 and he doesn't have enough grip and washes up the racetrack.
Or spins the car out.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of, let's not wish that on anybody, but that it's always a possibility.
And
there's some fast cars up front here. There are some fast cars up front.
Cautions breed cautions, Mr. Crow.
Now there's chat. There's chat on this green flag about asking if Christian is taking tires.
Yeah, they're
So the drivers are thinking about it. It's in their head. It's in their head.
Yeah, they're trying to figure it out. There are 18 laps on the tires on the leader. That is the 96 of Christian Light. Coming back to get the green flag this time by the caution was extended one lap. We are working 168, coming to get 169. There'll be 31 laps to go
31
here.
laps. 31 laps to go.
32. Take that back. Got to put the counter up there.
In the last track.
Well, normally I flip it, Sam, at halfway, and I didn't do that this time.
Oh, I see.
So 32 to go is what we're going to get. Matty Wagner had the wrong light, which normal for him. Love you, Matty.
We are going to. If there are more cautions,
we're with you, Mike.
Fuel will not be an issue if there are other cautions. But if it gets late stages and they don't want to pit anymore, then you'll wonder if anybody put enough in there for a couple of green-white checkers. I think there's only one green-white checker in this particular series.
Well,
but
I would have thought Wagner's accusing me of not being nice as we come back to get the green. Mike Rigney says, watch out for the tire spin. Green flag is in the air, and let's see how Stephen Light gets away here.
Green, green, green.
And now they get into the Geico restart zone. Christian Light does a great job of pulling away. But now that leaves Godinez and Evans fighting it out behind him. It looks like Christian Light's going to take the high side, and that's going to allow Godinez to take a position here.
Well, but he's got some he's going to have some fast cars. Christian Light's going to be in trouble.
There's three wide coming off of two.
Evans in the middle. Cannon on the bottom. Evans with a slight advantage. They're chasing Dylan Godinez here. The no tire, the staying out call definitely did not work for Christian Light, and here we go for the win. Dylan Godinez is going to lead it. Jacob Cannon, Adam O'Brien, Greg Evans in fourth. Kendall Paul has made it to fifth, and the damaged car of Ryan O'Donohue is sixth. Adam O'Brien wicked loose on the bottom.
Loose off of two. Now they're wrecking on the backstretch.
Heaney in the wall, among others. Hard.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
They're still wrecking in the back.
Oh, there's chaos. Like Trevor Benz, they were three wide in front of Trevor Benz, and he was coming up off the corner, and he makes contact the left rear. Wow.
So this started three wide. You got Nolan Milnes on the top, Jason Heaney on the bottom. The 96 of Christian Light is the monkey in the middle.
Light.
And here comes the three of Trevor Benz toward the bottom, and he's looking to make it four wide. Benz comes up. He's going to get in the rear of the 96, and from there it's on. The 9, an innocent bystander. He's going to get up in the wall. The 3 of Trevor Benz is going to hit the inside wall a ton. Meanwhile, these two cars, the 96 and the 9.
Cars that are, they're just trying to avoid Light as he comes back across the racetrack.
Going to watch it here from Braden Langley. He gets through. Michael Kurt gets through. Michael Moquin
Really takes the brunt of the damage there.
Yeah, he gets a pretty hard hit. Let's see what Michael Moquin sees here coming toward this accident. You can see the car spinning ahead of you, but again, you don't see much. And this is on the roof where you see more. This is what Michael Moquin sees out of the visor. The spinning car on the top is obscured by the 94, and by the time he sees him, there's a car to the left, and there is nowhere he can go.
You see the inside. His view at the A post is blocked, and then of course smoke in front of him. He has to make a quick decision, and it just so happens that there's a car in the middle of the racetrack as he has to make that decision.
That's a hard hit for all involved. The 6-hour machine now does sit on pit lane. We're going to get back.
He has a cockpit full of hood, and then iRacing gives it back to him.
That's never good when you get a cockpit full of hood. The one that always gets me is, you watch a race, an open wheel race, and you see the wings disappear, and all of a sudden they reappear again. That's the one that always got me, Sam.
Oh, yeah. iRacing forgiveness policy.
Yeah, that's the one that always got me. The guy, you get hit, the guy's rear or the guy's front wing disappears, and then half mile up the road, it's back again. Well, hot dog it. Anyway, Mike Rigney compliments on the restart. Thank you, Mike. We are 28 laps to go here. Dylan Godinez leads at Cannon second, O'Brien third, Greg Evans fourth, Kendall Paul is fifth, Ryan O'Donohue is seventh, and don't look now, Sam. Don't look now, Sam. Guess who's seventh?
Nolan Milnes?
You got it, brother. Nolan Milnes has pulled the number one back into seventh spot. He's won a stage. He's been last in this thing. He's been everywhere in between. Nolan Milnes is trying to get himself back into contention for a win, and that we know that car's fast, Sam.
Oh yeah, Nolan is equally as aggressive of a driver as Jacob Cannon is. I'm really excited to see drivers like Wasserman, Edwin James, Eric Corder, Brian Sharp, names that we have not called out much tonight, running up here in the top 10 as well. So now that everybody's on equal rubber here, we're going to see how things pan out on this restart.
We are indeed. There they go. Hall toward turn one. Dylan Godinez has it. Michael Cannon second. Evans to the top side of Adam O'Brien, and Andy Dunwoody in the chat. Watch out for the closer, Kendall Paul. He is fifth. He's got Adam O'Brien in front of him in fourth. O'Brien has led a ton of this race. He's trying to get back.
And there goes Milnes. He's already, before the first lap, he's already up to fifth.
Yep.
As he looks to the outside of Adam O'Brien. Oh, he gets loose off four.
Yeah, this is going to be worth the price of admission. Nolan Milnes had that car 50 degrees sideways coming off of turn number 4. No idea how he doesn't wreck it. He's going to haul off in there behind Adam O'Brien, and he has so much speed.
Oh, there goes Jacob Cannon for the lead, and Evans is not going to allow it to go unnoticed. So now he follows Cannon into turn 3.
He does indeed. Evans working on Dylan Godinez for second. Jacob Cannon's got the lead.
I'm just impressed with these drivers holding those cars on that bottom line out of 4. It is a skating rink down there on fresh tires.
It is indeed. Adam O'Brien takes the fastest lap of the race. He's going to look to the outside of Greg Evans. Evans loose a little bit, as is Nolan Milnes. Milnes, I was about to say, has so much center exit speed in the corner. Saw a wiggle that time. He got all the way out of the power. Greg Evans going to maintain.
Godinez gets into the back of Cannon there a little bit on the right rear. That checks Godinez up and gives Evans an open door as they come off of 4.
It is indeed. They're going to battle side by side for second. Cannon leads it. Evans and Godinez went second. Evans is going to clear Godinez. Here he comes now. Adam O'Brien. He's going to turn it to the bottom and try to take over third spot.
Now, these top 2 cars are in distinctive lines through 1 and 2. Cannon loves hugging the bottom in 1 and 2. Evans likes to run about a half a lane up off of exit. And so now, and Kendall Paul gets sideways as they come off of 4, it looked like he and Nolan Milnes made contact.
That's going to open the door for Brian Wasserman. That's the car that comes through into 7th rather. Edwin James 8th. Kendall Paul falls back to 9th. Bryant Sharp has moved into 10th. We haven't called Sharp's name tonight other than to mention that we haven't played the George of the Jungle song for him. Let's hope we get to keep that one on the shelf. Brian is 10th.
It looked like Kendall Paul just got a little loose coming off of 4 there and was able to save the car, but in order to save it, he had to get into the side of Milnes. But he was able to rally and pull the car back up under him.
Not known as a sprinter, but I hate to say it, Greg Evans is pulled to the outside of Jacob Cannon. They're going to do battle for the lead here. We're going to lead.
They're going to fight this out. It's going to be tooth and nail here.
Yeah. There's Greg Evans. He's on the outside. Jacob Cannon on the bottom. Ryan O'Donohue has made it to third. We got spinner. That is.
Oh, Nolan Milnes goes through the infield. It looks like he keeps the nose pointed straight. It will not be a caution.
He saved it. Watch this wild ride, fans. You're gonna get your money's worth here. He's battling with Dylan Godinez. They're gonna touch him. We're gonna ride along for a little bit of grass cutting here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. There's Godness on the outside. There's Milness on the inside. Do they touch, or does he get loose, or is it net code? I'm going to call that a touch. It turns them both loose. Milness gets pointed toward the grass, and watch this. Mind you, this is at quarter speed, Sam.
Oh, they're so close. I'm telling you, the car is so light right there coming off of 4.
It is, well, it's a lot lighter going through the grass. Give Nolan Milness. Watch this.
Milness may need to
all 4
change his
tires
sponsor.
all 4 tires off the ground there as he hits the transitions. But kudos to him. He doesn't lose control. He keeps it straight. He's going to lose a ton of track position, but he only falls back to 10th.
And he's still up.
Now
Caution
we've got a
is
caution.
out.
That's Kendall Paul and Brian Wasserman.
Oh, we haven't said a lot about Wasserman tonight, but he has run such a good race to get up to where he is. It looks like he was going off of turn 2 and caught the wall. And once he caught the wall, Kendall Paul had nowhere to go.
Yeah,
Nowhere to go.
That's Wasserman in the 57 in the Dos Equis machine. He's got the 46 of Edwin James to the front of him. There's the kiss of the cement. He's going to come. It's going to turn him loose down the track. Kendall Paul, nowhere to go. And I bet these guys are going to hit the inside wall really hard, Sam.
Okay, now the question is who has tires left that they want to run these last 15 laps with fresh tires? Who has tires left? And do you come and get them?
Oy. Great question. Who's playing poker?
Ryan O'Donoghue? Oh, they're faking it.
No, there's the fakey.
Edwin James.
Edwin James is going to
There's
come.
Nolan Milness.
Well, you knew Milness was going to come.
They have a set left.
Yeah, you knew Milness was going to come. Lee Campbell is also on the pit lane. Eric Corder is another lead lap car. Corder is not going to stop. I thought he lit up there. So on pit lane, Edwin James, Christian Light, Keith Graham is not, Lee Campbell, Nolan Milness are the cars that are stopping. They're going to come back out in 10th. They're going to have 17 laps, and we've seen what Nolan Milness can do in 10 laps on fresh tires. Sam.
Oh, he was early in the event after that first caution. He took a set of tires, and I'm telling you, he looked like Harry Gant at Dover, and he was hugging the wall and passing cars in a wholesale fashion. He was not afraid to run that high side.
You know, the last time I heard the words Harry Gant and wholesale fashion in the same sentence, I was watching the classic Burt Reynolds movie, Stroke a Race.
Well, you're welcome. I'm just an old Southern boy who remembers those things.
Oh man, that was a classic line from the great Chris Economaki, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Wholesale
sir.
fashion.
It's interesting to me, as hard these guys up front, the drivers up front, they knew that they were going to have to sprint this last section of the race, and so how much tire are they using up? How much tire have they used? And if those cars, such as Milness or Edwin James or these cars, that if they had a set left, if they'd gone in to go get that set, have the leaders used up enough for those those cars that are in 10th or so to make up that kind of ground with just maybe 10 laps on these tires?
Well, and that's what I was going to say, Sam. These tires on the leaders, they're 20 laps old, but they've reasonably had, of the 20, and they're going to be 20 laps old when they take their green flag. Of that, reasonably 6 or 7 of them have been under caution. Mm-hmm. They haven't hit that 20 lap mark yet, and they're cool now. Right? This isn't.
And they have cooled off.
Right. This isn't the Christian Light situation where there were 19 laps on those tires. these are
Yes, sir.
not yet fully broken down, and so there's still some
I don't think
good.
they had 5 hot laps on these tires, did they?
They might.
I think they did. I think they
you
did.
know, 10 at most. Pace car is going to get off of the racetrack.
Now
We're
we'll
gonna-
see. Well, now Jacob Cannon will have the advantage
Green
here as he
flag,
gets
green
into the
flag.
Geico restart zone and he gets a big jump. Adam O'Brien follows him out, and Greg Evans gets a decent enough jump, considering that the leader has so much advantage there.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the rules,
Now they're wrecking behind. They're wrecking behind. Nolan Milnes is in the wall.
hard impacts.
All right, man. Caution is
Caution
out.
is back on the speedway. Nolan Milnes, and we had just talked about what a golden opportunity he had.
Well, he went to the top. He went to the top with full intentions to do what we were talking about.
Yes, he did. He's running along behind the 77. There's the 44 of Lee Campbell.
Oh.
Contact with the
Wow, they're
77.
wrecking terribly back there. Heaney in another incident tonight, and he had such a good night going.
So there's the hit for Milnes. Heaney he's having a miserable time of it. He's already 14 laps down. This is what he sees. Smoke, blocked racetrack, and right into the door of the 77 after a touch from Nolan Milnes. Poor Eric Corder. He got hit hard. Zach Bailey, you're right. There have
He
been
and Troy Carragher were finding it out. I think Carragher is actually a lap down.
You would be correct. Troy Carragher is a lap down. He is 14th. 13 cars on the lead lap. Nolan Milnes did maintain his position on the lead lap.
Oh, wait a minute. I may have misspoke here.
No, Carragher is a lap down. Milnes going to bring it back.
No, I was trying to see who was inside of Eric Corder there. Is that trying to see who's there? It's the it's the 44.
Yeah, the 44 Lee Campbell. Campbell has not yet pitted.
Right.
Milnes.
It looked like a 94 to me. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Milnes is on pit lane.
I misspoke.
That's okay. There's the 44. He was involved. He did have contact. Lee Campbell has not has not stopped. And the car doesn't look like it's all that much the worse for wear. There's scuffs on the front of it, but it doesn't appear that there's anything bent or bruised or broken on that machine.
Not significant enough damage to rule them out of the event, for sure.
Well, especially not with 10 laps to go and new tires. Campbell, one of those that did stop, as did the car in front of him, Edwin James, in the 46, the first gear racing machine. So
now adding just some color to the race and some flavor, if you will. Ryan Sharp has gotten up to 6th spot.
You know, that does add color and flavor. I'll tell you what else adds color and flavor. We've got the Dutch division of the P1 Broadcasting Network. Julian Altena has joined us. He sat down the mayonnaise sandwich, and he's going to join us for the final 12 laps of the event.
The mayonnaise sandwich. It can only be called mayonnaise if it's the Dukes.
Well, I'll tell you what. So the joke, Julian is known. So his league, the Velocity Online Racing Series, great open wheel deal. They run Friday. They run on European time, so it's in the afternoons, Fridays and Saturdays. Julian is known for his drivers' meetings, and he always opens up the floor for questions. And so usually he's asked a question at some point during the drivers' meeting about the certain performance advantages of mayonnaise. And that usually winds up with me getting muted for a time. So hello to Julian. It's good to see you awake. It's got to be, oh golly, it's early in the morning over there now, I'd imagine.
I'd like to point out something that I just noticed into the server, and you may be able to see it on the broadcast, and you may not be able to see it.
It's getting dark, Sam.
But it has become very overcast. It is getting darker on the track, which means there will be more grip. as the pace car goes in, we're getting ready to restart. So we're going to see if that's the case. A cooler track could stabilize the cars just a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's almost like the time of
Jacob
day. It
Kennedy
got
gets
dark.
another big jump.
Yes, he does. Adam O'Brien's going to go to the bottom of Greg Evans. Godin and O'Donoghue are going to fight it out for 4th and 5th. The front 5 right together, 2 by 2. Cannon in the lead.
Evans was able to get a big run off of 2, but now I don't know that 3 and 4 is as big of an advantage, but Greg may be able to pull this off. Adam O'Brien's going to fight him as they come off the bottom. Oh, and a big impact for Brian Sharp coming off the 4. Oh, and he comes across the track in front of traffic. That collects the 94. Collects Trevor Benz.
No caution yet. Now, Sharp's going to stop.
He's parked in the middle of the racetrack.
He alt F4'd, so Sharp does the right thing.
He sure did. He got off the racetrack.
Good work from Brian Sharp there to get off of the racetrack.
Wow.
Watch out for that tree. George.
You've gone the whole event and not had to do that. I feel bad for Brian Sharp. He was racing such a good race.
He was indeed. O'Brien and O'Brien and Godinez, they're going to battle it out for third and fourth. Evans is clear in the second. Cannon has the lead. O'Donoghue is 5th. The battle royale rages, though, not for the front 2 spots, but for 3rd. Michael Moquin checking in the chat. He's a bummer. 2 straight DNFs. We're with you, Michael. We're sure you'll be in much better shape next week. Dunwoody says he told us so.
We'll pull David up into the booth next, I guess.
Of course. Look at this battle for 3rd.
This battle for 3rd is definitely heating up.
And I'm not so sure that
Jacob Cannon has moved up a lane now, and Evans has moved down a lane. We still have several laps of racing here. Edwin James, if I'm not mistaken, Edwin James took tires on that last or 2 cautions ago. Am I correct? I think he took tires with Nolan Milnes.
He did, and right on cue, he sets the fastest lap of the race. Edwin James is about to make it 2 for the price of 1. He gets by O'Donoghue. He thought about making it 3 wide on Godinez and O'Brien. Thought better of it.
This is where he can make up ground on the high side right here. Edwin James is passing on the outside of Godinez, and he's going to pull up on O'Brien.
Here he comes.
Oh, this is going to be interesting with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, we've got 6 to go, but he's blocked in. He can't really use all the momentum into turn number 1. Smokes
this is tricky because the car can push right up into the wall, but he does a great job of keeping it in the middle. O'Brien's going to fight him for it, and that's exactly what he should do.
Now, to be fair, Sam, I hadn't noticed this, but there was tire smoke coming off of the 46. That's the first time I've ever seen that in the sim.
As he was coming through the corner.
Yeah. It's the first time I've ever seen that. Almost like it was a late 80s bias ply. Adam O'Brien almost makes contact with James.
Look how deep Adam O'Brien drives that car into the corner. Did you see that?
I did indeed, and I also saw Edwin James pull right up on the back of Greg Evans, but he was loose too. Now James is clear of O'Brien. He's going to go to work on Greg Evans and Jacob Cannon. He's going to pull the outside of Evans.
This may be the call of the race. If Edwin James can get up here and battle Jacob Cannon and Greg Evans for this win.
Here it is. They're going to go door handle to door handle. That's James on the top.
Edwin James is going to make the pass. He's going to make the pass on Greg Evans as he comes up on Jacob Cannon coming down the backstretch.
It's just a matter of time, Sam. The tires are telling the tale. 18 laps difference for Cannon and Edwin James. James to the high side. He's going to get a massive run off of turn number 4.
Oh, big run on the outside. They make
touch
contact.
Into the wall. They're still touching.
They make contact again. They're wrecking in the front stretch. Oh, no. Oh, no. What?
No caution. We're going to follow
I knew
the battle
Cannon
for
was
the
not
lead.
going to give up the spot easy. I did not expect that.
No caution. We're going to follow the battle for the lead. 3 laps to go. Coming to get 2.
James had as far as he could go out there. He could not go any further. He was at the wall.
Yeah.
They just kept banging coming down the front stretch, and once they got glued
And now
together,
we're
they
gonna get the
could not
caution.
get apart.
Now we're going to get the caution.
And it's going to be a green-white checker.
Yes, it is. So this all starts battle for the lead. Edwin, we're going to get green white checker between Edwin Evans, O'Brien, Godness, Campbell, and John Hutchins in the 72 has now scored 5th. So here it is. You've got the fresh tires on the top. You've got old tires on the bottom. Cannon has been one of the leaders all day long. They come off of turn 4.
And once they get on exit here, Cannon is on a little older tires, so the car begins to work its way up. But James only has so far to go before he gets to the wall. So they get extremely close on exit. James is really, there's not much more he can do.
No,
but once he hits the wall and bounces off of it, then it causes this chain reaction of trying to save the car, and now they're just banging doors coming down the front stretch and caught each other in the most catastrophic place you can catch in the dog leg as he catches him in the right rear, and they both just slam the outside wall.
They do. I'm kind of interested to know what actually caused the caution, because we had been green to this point. And is it Cannon or is it James that stops? I believe the engine is blown. Yeah, the engine's blown on the 20 for Jacob Cannon. It is also blown.
He pulls down on the apron.
Yeah, and in the Alt F4s, Edwin James, though, I don't know. I don't think either guy did anything necessarily wrong there.
It was just hard racing there at the end.
Well,
it was just hard racing. It was just. It's just one of those incidences where Jacob or Cannon is on a little bit older tire, but he's really going to try and race. This is for the win. This is not for lap 20. This is not for stage break. This is for the win. So Jacob Cannon's going to race him for that position, and so it was just very close, and there was not enough real estate.
Contact ensued. Yeah, and then you can't. Yeah. The other thing is, once you hook two cars up like that in the sim, it's very difficult to get them off of one another.
If you look, Edwin James is coming off the corner. Once he makes contact with the wall, he bounces off the wall, and then now he's trying to save the car. So now he's got all this wheel input back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and so there's Cannon on the bottom to stop him on one correction. Then he doesn't want to come back out and hit the wall, so he corrects again, and then he catches Jacob in the right rear, and then by then they're just stuck together. They can't come loose.
Yep. Now we're gonna have a green-white checker here. 3 laps to go. The lights are out on the pace car. Greg Evans is the leader. Adam O'Brien second. Godness and Lee Campbell are going to make up road number 2. Ryan O'Donoghue and Keith Graham are 5th and 6th. Christian Light and John Hutchins 7th and 8th. Nolan Milnes is 9th. Those are the cars on the lead lap. Jacob Cannon is scored 10th. Edwin James
he is out of the race.
11th. Both of those cars out of the race. Keith Ayers is rolling around. The 98 is 5 laps down. He is on the Speedway. I don't think we've got many other cars that are still circulating. Justin Osterman can still make up spot on Brian Wasserman. Here we come, though, back to the green flag. This is going to be the race for the win. Here's the guy.
Greg Evans gets the jump as they come come through the tri-oval across the start-finish line. Godness follows him out. Adam O'Brien really did not get the best start here.
No, he didn't. Godness is going to go to second. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to come into third. O'Brien drops to 4th. This is the race for the lead. Dylan Godness in hot pursuit of Greg Evans as they come toward the white flag.
They're coming through 3 and 4, and Greg Evans, if he can take the white flag, the next flag will be the finish of the race. He has at least a 3-car advantage on Dylan Godness. Adam O'Brien and Ryan O'Donoghue are fighting it out for 3rd spot. We're on the final lap. Bring us home, Mark.
We've made it. 203 circuits. Greg Evans leads it. Dylan Godness second. They're going to come off at turn number 2, single file. No challenge for position. Now O'Brien swings it wildly to the bottom. He's going to go the inside of O'Donoghue. O'Brien shovels it in on the bottom. He's going to try to get that last step on the podium, but Greg Evans... What a pass. But
what a pass.
Greg Evans is going to come off of turn number 4. All Stars and Stripes. He's going to take the win. Dylan Godden is second. Adam O'Brien is third. That'll make Dunwoody happy. He got one car in the top 3. Ryan O'Donoghue comes home fourth after an eventful day. Lee Campbell fifth, and John Hutchins runs the fastest lap of the race on the last one. Credit him with sixth. And just another incredible race in this series.
There were so many variations to how this thing could have ended here at the end of the race. It was, Edwin James was clearly the fastest car with fresh tires. Jacob Cannon was very good on the last run, considering he had older tires and he had the lead. Greg Evans showed muscle throughout the race, and then you had Ryan O'Donoghue was trying to work his way up through the field. Dylan Godinez had taken the lead at some point. Kendall Paul was fast. There's just so many good drivers that were doing so many great things. And Adam O'Brien with a brilliant pass for third spot there on the last lap. Even Ryan O'Donoghue told him, even called him out in chat and congratulated him on a fantastic pass. So it's just an exciting race here in the AMA race at the Slots 300 at Las Vegas.
You know, it was indeed a great evening. Greg Evans burning it down in victory lane while we get some replays queued up here. All right, Sam. Your winner tonight, Greg Evans from Dylan Godinez and Adam O'Brien. Ryan O'Donoghue, he'll bring it home second. Ryan O'Donoghue bring it home fourth. Lee Campbell rounds out your top 5. John Hutchins is 6th. Keith Graham is 7th. Christian Light 8th. Nolan Milnes is 9th. And Jacob Cannon will round out your top 10. In 11th, Keith Ayers. Edwin James is 12th. Trevor Benz 13th, Braden Langley 14th, Troy Carricker is 15th. Brian Sharp, he ran it up into the top 10, ran into the trees. Sharpie is 16th, Jason Heaney 17th, Michael Kirk 18th, Eric Corder 19th, Kendall Paul ran into trouble late. He is going to be scored in 20th. In 21st, Justin Osterman, Brian Wasserman, say those two names fast and together, is 22nd. Mark Allett is 23rd, Michael Mokman 24th, Corey Crandall will be the final car in the top 25. Caleb Jones, Donald Green, Tyler Smith, Sean Mott, and Andrew Miller will round out the top 30. 31st, Mark Cofield. Then Sean Merriman, Joseph Klein, Colby Pierce, Joshua Siegfried, John Guerrera, and Ted Craven is going to finish 37th. And Shotgun on the field. And let's see if we've got Adam O'Brien anywhere around here. Where is Adam? Let's see. There he is. Adam O'Brien, Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I do.
You do indeed. You were up front all night, my man. You wind up third. Kind of talk to us about that last restart, your plan, and kind of what transpired to really get you into third in a wild finish.
Well, I definitely messed up that restart. I spun the tires like all could be. It was not part of the plan because I definitely felt like I had something for the 2 with the speed I had all night. But I got lucky enough to get a solid run through 1 and 2 and got lucky enough to cut down far enough to the bottom to sneak through and just kept it floored and turned as hard left as I could.
You did indeed. You're bringing home third, Sam. What say you for our third place finisher? Sam?
Adam, great job. I thought your pass on the last lap was brilliant. It was a great job. Even Ryan O'Donoghue had to congratulate you on such a really good move, considering all the chaos that you had to endure there at the end of the race. I'm a little curious about how you felt about the long runs that we did have tonight, and how you were able to keep the car under you in those particular cases.
A lot of the time, I just tried to get out front to a nice, decent gap, and then started saving for a while. And then once I started closing in, I would pick up the pace more. I definitely feel like if we would have stayed green the whole time, I had a lot better long run car than I did short run. It's kind of a little rough to have those green white checkers, but I mean everybody's racing hard. They know everybody's fast in this league. Everybody's quick enough to be up in the front, and it's just fighting for the same real estate sometimes where you just meet in the middle and cause an accident, which I mean didn't help us in the run tonight, but we still end up third, and I'll still take it.
A podium is a great finish considering the attrition that we had late in the event.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is indeed. And Adam, I was going to ask. The track appeared to be a little loose tonight. How? And by little, I'm probably being a little sarcastic.
That's an understatement.
How much of your dirt racing in the micros and slingshots and stuff translates to driving a loose stock car?
It actually translates a lot because with dirt racing and especially driving the micro, when you feel that wheel get loose, like really loose, you kind of just ease up a little bit, but let the car drive itself. Don't fight the car. Don't try to chase the car, because then when it does grab grip, you're gonna end up shooting straight to the wall. It's one of those things where having a little bit of dirt experience does help on a looser track like this, but on the smaller, tighter tracks, it doesn't help much at all.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Adam. Friends, family, sponsors you want to shout out to? The floor, sir, is yours.
Definitely got to thank Dark Horse Performance, Andy, Kendall, Brian, everybody there. Just great group of people to keep running with week in, week out. Got to thank Kendall with AMA and all the admins that he has with this group. They do a fantastic job of making amazing racing. Like, I think this is 3 weeks in a row I've gotten on the podium. Just fantastic racing between the whole field. Got to thank Reflect Photography. My buddy Ryan does great photography work in the PA area. Come check him out. He's on Facebook at Reflex Photography with an extra X. Just, he does fantastic work and does great photos for everybody, and very well priced. I got to thank Admin Box for getting the sponsor on this car. Definitely got to thank you guys broadcasting it. I'm about to go back and watch it again because it's always a blast to go and rewatch the broadcast and see what's all going on, because you can only see so much when you're in the car.
Well, just make sure when you watch the broadcast to have an iced tea in one hand and a paper bag in the other so you don't hyperventilate, because there was some pretty exciting moments.
I'll make sure I prepare myself for that one. It's just
excellent.
It's incredible. I love what you guys do. It's awesome. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
You had a great run, Adam.
Yeah, we appreciate you too. Get out here, go celebrate, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
100%. That's Adam O'Brien. He is your third place finisher tonight. We're going to bring in second place Dylan Godnez. Dylan, Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Not too bad. You had an eventful day. At one point, did you take my question is, at one point, did you take gas only or 2 tires to get yourself up there?
I took gas only on that first pit stop. I just wanted to play a little bit of strategy and see if we could play around. I mean, Vegas, it's so hard on the tires. It was a very tight car, so wearing out the right sides, everybody wanted tires at the end. So that first pit stop was gas only to try to play a little bit of strategy. And I mean, hey, we were up there at the end.
Yeah, you were. So save a set of tires. It seemed to work. You didn't. You kind of stabilized about 10th, and then you were able to work your way back toward the front from there. Sam, what do you have for Dylan this evening?
Dylan, you ran a great race tonight. There were several opportunities for you to get up there and exchange positions with the leaders. You had plenty of speed. You're actually the first person that I've heard tonight use the word tight. Could you just fill us in, because we saw a whole lot of the side of cars tonight. Can you fill us in about how you felt like that car was tight?
Hey man, I felt great that I could at least come across on 4 tires this time. It's a big rebound from Phoenix last week. We got up in the air,
yes.
But yeah. So I play around a lot with brake bias during the race and trying to get the car to rotate through the corner on entry. But super bumpy. 1 and 2 was very unforgiving for a lot of these guys. But Messing around with entries and everything like that. 1 and 2 was the tightest corner of this whole track. 3 and 4, you saw a lot of guys wash up and get light on exit. So it's kind of just a balancing act, man. I mean, you got guys either wearing out the right front or you got guys smoking the right rear and getting loose. So I was thankful enough to at least keep it straight. Bump elbows with these guys. I'm still very new to this series, so it was a lot of fun overall. It was a great race.
Well, I don't mean to stir the pot, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I would like to get your thoughts about the late race caution. I did hear you speak up in game chat between what happened with Edwin James and Jacob Cannon. So would you like to give a little perspective of that because you were behind all of it?
Hey man, I was sitting there with popcorn like the rest of y'all. I mean, it was it was crazy to watch. It was crazy to watch. It was even crazier to be in it. Jacob's a really clean guy. He races really fast. I was glad I got to at least exchange blows with him a couple times tonight. But yeah, man, I'm just glad it wasn't me.
Well, that's the most politically correct answer you could give. I enjoy it. Great finish for you tonight.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Oh, great.
For certain, sure, Jake or Dylan, and thank you so much for stopping by. As is the tradition here on the P1 Broadcasting Network, you get on the podium, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to shout out to, the floor is yours.
I'd like to say hi to everybody watching at home. Thank you for supporting me week in and week out. It means a lot. I was able to run up front tonight and give a good show. We had a fast DG Motorsports Ford Mustang. Thank you to ETA Enterprises for being on the hood, Tony G's for helping me out. Hair by Eliana, and Carolina Crate Mods are at Caraway Saturday night, so make sure y'all go out and see them, and it's going to be a great show there too. So Thank you guys.
Carolina guy. We got to stick together.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, that's Dylan Godness. He's going to run second tonight, and we'll go ahead and let Dylan get on with his celebrations. The man of the hour, though, and a guy that we've probably waited 4 weeks too long to talk to is Greg Evans. Greg, you've got Mark and Sam in the P1 Broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. You're right ahead.
I'll tell you what, my man. I don't want to say it was uneventful. You were among the top 3, but you had to earn it. You got put in the back a couple of times. Kind of talk to us about what you were thinking when you were back 10th, 11th, 12th, and thinking, man, I got a fast hot rod, and I've had this happen before, and got stuck in the back, and had some different things happen. So tell us your mindset in getting back toward the front from there.
Yeah, man, it was eventful, that's for sure. I was running second on that first run, and I hit the wall coming off, I guess, turn 2, and after last week, I thought for sure I had, quite a bit of damage. So during that caution, I came down just to kind of repair it and top off, and you get down there and it says I got 0 time worth of damage, and I thought, well, that was pointless. This is going to be interesting. So, man, it was a lot of attrition just trying to come back through there. When you're not even halfway, you're trying to take your time, trying to save your tires, but man, you've got everybody, with different thoughts, different strategies. Some guys give you more room, some guys want to pinch you off, and man, it was tough. Once I got back to third and second, I felt pretty comfortable trying to stay there, and I kind of had a game plan after that. But yeah, it was very interesting. That last run, I thought we were gone. I was just trying to save tires and letting everybody kind of pull up to me for a little bit, just trying to save what I had. And then that caution came out, and that just that re-racked everything for sure.
Yes, it did. Sam?
Greg, I know Greg at the knowing a little bit about your race strategies in the past, the race was really playing into your strong points. But can you give us a little inside thought processes as you're getting into the last laps of this race? Jacob Cannon had speed all night long, and you're running a close second. But then all of a sudden you see the 46 come blazing past you on the outside through 3 and 4. Was there any kind of regret about not stopping and getting tires at that particular point?
Well, me and Jacob are actually in the same channel talking. Just coincidentally, and whenever we had that last or the next to last caution, I seen a few guys pit, and it did cross my mind. I did think about it, but then I thought, as soon as I pit, we're going to have, 3 or 4 cautions back to back to back, and those tires will be no good. And then I think it was like 4 to 5 to go. I looked back and I seen the 46 coming, and me and Jacob were talking. I was like, dude, there ain't nothing we can do. And coincidentally too, we came off. I didn't get a good run off of 2. The 87 got a pretty good run, and I was really focusing on where he was coming off, through 3 and 4, and I was really looking back to see where he was, clearing myself, and then all of a sudden I look up and I just see them bouncing, and I still don't really know what happened. I think Jacob said that they kind of pinched each other off the corner a little bit, but then the 46 looked like he lost control and just turned left. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to be leading, but at that point I didn't want to be leading, so it kind of worked out.
Well,
You raced a great race.
Yeah, you did. Huge win, Greg. You get your first one in this series, and I'm sure it's the first of many. Like I said, I picked you as the dark horse to win the championship in this series. So you've certainly proved that more than a little bit right tonight. You punch your ticket to the playoffs, and so that's always a big deal. But moreover, you've got Matt Wagner and Mike Rigney fighting over whether or not you should drive an Indy car in the chat. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, my plan was to run most of that, and then I think Sam Sangapore reminded me better. I think the first race we were out of town or something, and then the second race I had to get kidney stones or gallbladder surgery.
He had a medical emergency.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that. That got me out for 2 or 3 more weeks, and then at that point I was thinking, I know those guys are running for a championship. They're running for Sim Magic pedals, and I didn't feel confident enough to go in there and not cause an issue or knock somebody out of the way. And I was like, at this point, there's really, I don't want to get in there and just ruin somebody else's championship. So I kind of stayed away, but tell Ricky and Wagner.
Let's just face it. It's Wags. He's just wanting to flex his ego here. That's all it is.
He says you're healed. He'll see you Monday.
Yeah, from what I've seen, that boy can wheel an IndyCar.
He sure can.
There's a lot of great drivers in that series, and there's a lot of great drivers all across all the races we do here on P1. So, and you're one of them, and we certainly do thank you. You're the one standing in victory circle tonight, though. So, the mic's yours, friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to shout out to. The floor is yours, Greg.
Yeah, definitely got to thank Sim Magic, Sim Labs, Freightliner. Thank you guys again for broadcasting. I know you guys do a great job. And kudos to AMA, man. Jumping in here, I'm getting older. I ain't that old yet, but it's always scary trying something different. You've won other places and you go somewhere different, and honestly, I don't really know anybody over here. So it's been a lot of fun. The first couple of races having a lot of cautions and stuff have been, a little bit aggravating, but that always seems to happen at the first of the season. And I told myself I'm just going to stick it out, see what happens. And lo and behold, we got a win tonight. So hopefully we're back on track. And just like I said, thank everybody for watching and tuning in. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. That's Greg Evans. He's your winner tonight. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
You are more than welcome. And Sam, another fun one.
AMA. What can you say?
There's not much.
They're producing exactly what they said they were going to do. They said that it was going to be an exciting season. They're producing exactly what they said they were going to do. The drivers are showing up. The talent pool is thick and heavy, and I realize that there may be attrition, but there is no shortage of excitement in these races. No shortage whatsoever.
No, there isn't, and that's a great segue into the upcoming events that we've got scheduled. This series is going to continue every Thursday night through May the 1st. You can catch that live beginning at 8:20 with a pre-race 8:35 start here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Speaking of future races on the network, tomorrow night, Sam and I are going to be right back here at Las Vegas for the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series from Las Vegas. That's going to be a 200 miler, so a little bit shorter. We're going to take Saturday off so that Gary can call
So we're going from the roulette wheel to the blackjack table? Is that what you're telling me?
How about 3-card poker, Sam? How about 3-card poker? Gary's gonna do the Velocity Online Racing Series race. They're gonna run their Indianapolis 500 on Saturday, and so I'll be in that one. Maybe I'll get Sam to come along and spot me, but that's going to be at 3 over on the Velocity Online Racing Network with
You're
P1,
a tremendous racer, Mark.
with the P1 crew. Not nearly as good as Greg Evans. Sunday, we're going to have the Votive IndyCar Series at 7:50 p.m. That's going to be from the Texas Motor Speedway. And then with Week 13 over, the regular schedule begins. Monday night, we're going to have the IndyCar Top Series Top Split Open Race. That's going to be from Fontana. And if you thought this was wild, put 26 IndyCars on Fontana. That's wild. That's going to be followed immediately by the ISRA Open Wheel Series race. They're going to have their finale at Indianapolis. We're going to do the Tuesday night Indy Oval Series Top Split race. That's going to be from Legacy, Texas. 8:15. Remember, the officials are moved back 1 hour this week. The Horizon IndyCar Series at 8. They're going to be at Motegi on Wednesday, 8 o'clock on the network. And we're going to have dueling streams. The Formula Indy Series, the Flash Photos Grand Prix of Belgium. That's going to be from the Spa-Francorchamps bike course. So how about that? That'll go off at 8:20. I'll have the oval race from Motegi, along with Ryan Eric King. Gary Gotso and Stephen Larkamp will be in virtual Belgium, and that's going to bring us right back here for the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series next week, 8:20 p.m. Same time, same bad channel. Sam Crow and I on the call. Hopefully, I have cured the hiccups. Sam.
Can I take the belts off now?
Man, I need to put mine up tighter. While I do that, we want to thank all the people that are out there watching, the viewership and the engagement from those viewers for this series continues.
Thank you to all the fans. Yes, absolutely, all the viewers that are tuning in. I would like to encourage those that are still with us, and I do see that some are still with us, to hit the like button and the subscribe button. We would love to have you a part of our family.
That's absolutely true, and that is 100% free. If you want to support, sim racers, and the channel, the easiest and best way to do that is to subscribe to the broadcasting channels, because that's really how we move up the YouTube algorithm and get more viewers. So we appreciate that. We do also appreciate all of the first responders, police, fire, EMS, military, all the people who do the job during the night so that we can lay our heads down on the pillow and sleep safely. We thank you from virtual Las Vegas, and until tomorrow night, we'll see you later.